Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Yeah, he's really starting to be affected by Kalkbrenner. Alexander, so pretty. There's Kalkbrenner inside off glass and the foul. I mean, his size has really been a big factor in the second half on both ends of the floor.
You know, against a team like that, when you take away possessions and the ability to score, the game can be close like that, and I think we did a good job in the second half of taking care of the ball and then obviously just making shots.
First time in Creighton Blue Jay history, it's 4 straight. Jays wins! Jays wins! Jays wins! In the first round of the NCAA tournament.
Survive in advance. All right, we talked about before the game, the process has led us to here. And we got to finish the job. We're one step closer, and the next step is Saturday. And it starts with our preparation tonight with a little bit of film and some work on the court tomorrow. Proud of you guys.
Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Radio here on AM 590 ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, and live from the Pillar Exterior stage. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. What's going on?
Hi.
How you doing?
I feel grossly underdressed.
Well, I feel grossly overdressed. So
I
we're
mean,
in the same
Mardi
here.
Gras / funeral versus coach.
We're both wearing black, though, so that's close.
Yeah.
We're in the same neighborhood here.
Morbid.
Well, gotta do what you gotta do.
A lot of people wish death to West Side. It's fine.
It's true. It's like, what's that 50 Cent song? Many men.
Hey, so how about my man Terrence Bud Crawford just slaying and parlaying with M, Dre, and my man Curtis Jackson, a.k.a. 50 Cent.
Well, you know, he's got a they're probably
stumbled into a relationship with M.
with Eminem, and now he's got the whole
just
crew.
like,
Now he's got all of them.
yeah, they're just boys.
I mean, you know, he needs he needs the whole crew to walk into his next fight that he's apparently got coming up.
Yeah, not one in which he wants, but it's part of the fight game. So gotta do what you
Gotta
gotta
do what you gotta do.
He's only got probably 2 megas left in him, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta get past this one. Keep one fresh.
Can you imagine like just being able to jet set, and I mean, it's kind of like to steal some lines from Ric Flair, man. It's like limousine riding, jet flying. And speaking of which,
Yeah.
And my buddy says this, but it's weird for me to get my arms around it because I just know him as kind of a regular person. But actually, I have 2 friends.
Bud?
I have 3 friends. No,
Yeah.
with planes.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's just a casual. I've got 3 friends.
well,
with
it's way
planes.
above my. Listen, I wave from afar.
Hey,
But one
hi,
is
friend.
one is actually 2 actually. Adam and DJ are fairly close, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
close. And so DJ always says,
I don't know
like,
DJ was rolling like that.
yeah. So maybe I shouldn't have said that out loud. But anyway,
DJ, give me a call, bud.
he calls it. He said, you know, it's not economically efficient. It's not.
Yeah.
Whatever, right? He said it's basically a time
It's
machine.
time, yeah.
It's
100%.
a time machine. And I was talking to him last night late over text, and all I could think of was, at first when I saw the pictures of Dannon,
Mhm.
and I knew everybody was cramming a microphone in his face, and those are the times that I feel bad, but I love it for our buddies in the media that like are getting, like they get to do their job, right?
Yeah,
Like that's what they
the
do.
content. Yeah.
And I was like, man, that would suck to be Dannon. And I was like, no, wait a minute.
It's part of the job, man.
No, he can get wherever he wants to.
Yeah.
When he wants to. That would be a beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah.
If you're gonna fly me to Memphis from Lincoln,
Absolutely. Let's go.
get me dressed, get my clothes, fly me back.
Let's do it.
Oh man, I'm your. Is it Huckleberry?
Yeah,
I don't want to get it
that's
right. I
Tombstone.
don't know what you guys say, Shane.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
I don't mean you guys. I meant like
You guys.
produced guys that are in the know of Tombstone. Don't do that to me again.
I didn't.
Did I say it again already? The first 3
No,
minutes.
because you weren't talking about like a group of people. You were talking about like a profession, which is different.
Yeah,
They're not a protected group,
aired out.
you know.
Thank you.
They're not a.
Ooh, it's getting a little.
It's a little dicey.
Yeah, it's too early for that.
It is.
But yeah, it's like I would do that
Yeah, I mean, so there's this.
because he's in about 3 days. He's going to be overwhelmed.
He's
gonna have to go to his little makeshift condo.
He's gonna need to take a minute
and turn out the lights and exhale. But right now, buckle up, Buttercup.
I mean, when I need to relax, sometimes I just inhale. You just big deep breath, you know.
By the way, I can't find my Afrin.
You gotta, man. That's the business.
I only got it because of you, and it's extortion, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's stupid expensive,
dude.
But it works like in 30 seconds.
Makes Flonase look like super hood. And I thought I was getting cracked with Flonase.
That stuff works almost instantly.
But I can't find it.
I think it's black magic. I don't even know what it is.
Why it's got to be black?
It's ridiculous.
It's got anything to do with yogurt.
No, because we're both wearing black today. That's
there it is. But I can't find it.
Well, it's gonna cost you like another $18 to get a new one.
I'm like, for this little itty bitty thing, how many sniffs am I gonna get out of
Costco?
This?
You get a
the double pack.
Yeah, there's a deal.
Yeah, I get my vitamins there.
Actually, I think it's a triple pack at Costco. It's a good deal.
Yeah, I got smacked at Costco the other day.
Yeah,
I don't even think I got anything that I could eat that wasn't a vitamin, and it was like a smooth 112.
Oh, 112 is about the cheapest I've ever gotten out.
Here's the thing.
Costco.
I didn't get any food.
That's a tough look.
Yeah. Zero food.
If I get out of Costco for under $200, I'm thrilled.
Like, and they have my favorite. I know how sometimes people hate on self-checkout.
You know,
I like
it's okay.
My mom is like adamant about not doing self-checkout, which is cool, right? It's like Bobby Brown, it's her prerogative. But they have the nicest self-checkout.
Well, and they kind of help you out too.
Some
they don't always help you out.
I was gonna pull a kid move and say, bruh. I'm gonna stop. I hate that, so I gotta stop.
I usually only say it when I'm making fun of somebody.
Like everybody always says it.
I texted you, bruh, last night because I was trying to do like over text the dumb guy voice I was doing on the air yesterday.
Try coaching. Go in the weight room or something. It's like, who's bruh? But anyway,
bruh, McNeese State was with him for like 12 minutes.
That was funny. I did laugh on the couch. Because I could hear you saying it, like just in typical Ravi fashion. But some of the self-checkout people do help you. Like they pay attention to the big scanning items.
Yeah.
Some just kind of just chill.
Well, it's like what we say. Not everybody's good at their job, right?
Listen, my girl Lucy,
she got you covered.
Man, she's the best in the business, and I get hugs.
Oh, they dap you up? And go a little...
No, I'm talking like
like full on.
Yeah, she's a little mature.
Okay.
But I mean, cooler than a fan, right? Just like, and she's so pleasant. And she's like, "Well, I just saw you in here the other day, Damon. What's going on?"
I need my vitamins.
Well, and I get this like, because I'm not trying to shoot my shot all in one grocery trip, which is pretty dumb when you go to Costco because that defeats the whole point.
Yeah.
But I needed some specific cheeses, and then I just needed a couple of other things. So that day was only like $80, but the other day was like $112, and I looked at her and I was like, "Yeah, I know I'm seeing you again in like 4 days. I'm doing it all wrong, especially for how Costco's built." But that's coming. Like that'll be at the end of the month where I'll make the
big trip,
the Nestea plunge.
Yeah, I try and get it all done in one shot just because I don't like going there all the time.
So Costco is Team Afrin.
They have the triple packs.
Yeah, they've got some muscle milks and pure proteins now.
I used to get
a little cheap.
I used to get my protein there all the time.
Yeah,
back when I was a meathead, I used to all the time because it's way cheaper than anywhere else.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So I need a like a time machine too, where I could just get in, get out. Because I listen, your boy's in a huge dilemma.
I don't think a private jet's gonna help at Costco.
I know. Could I use it in the city? Because I have like 12 months left on my lease, and I only have 1,000 miles.
Go turn it in now.
I don't know if they'll do it with 12 months.
They will. As long as you're under your miles still, they will do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
We could talk off air. I
gotta go.
I got the lease game figured out. We're all good.
So yeah, if I'm Dannon, I'm thinking, all right,
yeah,
I gotta ride this wave.
Yeah.
And
well, and you see Trev's not going.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
so you did it.
I'm glad I did it, but also that's a coward move.
But I'm just telling you, though, people. So go back and I'm always here for the comments.
Yeah.
He was getting crushed.
Yeah, I know. I was the one crushing him.
And I couldn't believe it. Like
Nothing would
I just was
please me more.
scrolling through the comments. I'm like, you guys, like I couldn't even vibe with it. And I know I can be a gump sometimes. Like, oh, come on, man. Like
what Mom always said.
Yeah, be nice. But you guys were like all in.
Oh yeah, there was vitriol there.
I mean, go away.
I didn't
AD your own school.
There was a lot of that.
But I'm like, fellas, ladies,
leave it alone though. Like
he actually he does. You haven't left anybody you love before?
Yeah, but then you don't get to keep texting them. Like when you leave, you give up some privileges.
So I'm just
you don't get to break up with somebody and be like, "Hey, like you want to go out this Friday?" Like that's not how it works.
And I know you're gonna want to fight over this, but you can't in the suit, so I'm gonna say it. I'd love to see you try to punch in that thing, but you'd be like,
I'll get it done. I don't care.
Look like a Ninja Turtle.
My mom like custom tailors these things. I'm good to go.
I don't think he wants to be a distraction.
I like turtles.
No, that's fine.
And
that's fine.
So it's like, oh, DB, there you go. Now, you want to defend him. No, I'm just saying like.
Oh, I think it's a distraction for A&M too.
Yeah.
Like if I wasn't doing it as he's being altruistic for Nebraska.
Why do you have to use such big words so early? It's usually me.
Well, listen, when I'm dressed nice, I feel like I have to talk better.
Oh, okay.
Me has to talk real good.
No slumming it for you?
Yeah. No, I don't think he's doing it
that was a movie.
Really? I actually didn't see him eating the yogurt in that movie, though, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's authentic.
I really got to be careful on what I say about that. So
my love's in jeopardy.
It's called Slumdog Millionaire. Shane, that's what the joke was.
No big deal.
I mean, you know what they say. Us Indian folk are good at trivia.
Oh, let's not act like you hit me with the cruise and roots thing last week or a couple weeks ago.
When did I do that?
Oh, I just said it in passing.
I don't.
Nobody can do that.
I don't even recognize what we're doing here.
Told you
I don't even recognize.
I don't do big boats anymore.
Oh yeah, that was you.
No,
you started.
Oh yeah, of course
you did.
But
take some responsibility.
Culpability. What's that?
Unlike,
do I have to own it?
Unlike Trev over here, I need you to own what he did.
So kind of like Coach Altman's brilliant response last night to the media.
Yeah.
Like, diffuse it. It's not about them. It's not about Mac. It's not about Dana.
You know
it's
what
not
Dana
about Trev.
Didn't do?
Oh, listen, that's my guy. So if you put him up now.
Who, Dana's your guy?
Yeah,
I'm defending Dana here.
Oh, okay, because I'm
you know what Dana didn't do when he left Creighton for Oregon?
What?
He didn't go, hey, great hire, Creighton. Congrats, Greg.
He might have texted him privately.
That's fine. It was private. That's the correct way to handle your business.
Right. So we got
especially when you don't have a Twitter presence really to speak of, and then all of a sudden you're like, gig 'em. Come on, Johnny Manziel. Let's be buddies. Bring on the bus. Bring the bus down.
Yeah. So
congrats, Troy.
I think
was Twitter a thing though?
In 2008 or whatever he left, or 2010 when he left. Yes.
Barely.
Yeah, barely.
It was invented in 2006. Get off my lawn.
Wow. Oh, Walt Kowalski.
Whatever the hell it is.
No, there's no way Ravi Kowalski would have lived in Walt's neighborhood, though.
No.
It's bad enough when the other family moved in.
Get off my lawn.
What, you don't like Torinos or what?
Oh, yeah. Would you will that to me if you pass? I probably wouldn't drive it, though.
I don't have a Torino. What are you talking about? I'll will you the lease on my Jeep if you want. Sounds like you got a problem there.
Why would I want your lease? I don't want another bill.
I don't know, man.
I'm just a bill.
If you liked boats, I'd leave you the boat, but
I don't like boats either.
It's just like a lake.
No, boats are fine.
It's like a lake boat, though. It's not like a big boat.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
You can only fit like 5 or 6 people on there, so it's probably less problematic.
I see what you're doing.
I think it's the large groups that you worry about. And also, you'd have a hard time crossing anything more than Lake Manawa with that thing.
Oh, man.
Although it is a 26-footer. It's pretty good size. There's basketball games on last night. I don't know if you watched any of those.
Got a little late in the night, didn't it?
It did, man. I'm tired.
Well,
I'm not going to lie to you.
So
that Kansas game didn't end up till like midnight, 12:10.
And I'm so happy. I'm cheering my brains out for Kansas.
Why?
Because being Matt DeMaria.
Oh, that's right.
Go.
You know that Sanford got hosed on that call, though.
But still, though, I mean,
That's a bad call. Like, just acknowledge it's a bad call, please.
Yeah,
like it's a terrible call.
I love how you want to box me in.
No, listen, I
it was a bad call.
Okay, now we can talk about whatever else you want.
I love the fact that Kansas scored 90 some odd points.
That's great.
Rock chalk, baby.
They did it against Samford.
Okay. Now listen, all you upset-minded losers out here that were trying to poke holes in. Now I did miss on Duquesne, but for the most part, I'm trending in the right direction.
Yeah, you were dead on McNeese.
I told you they're not good. It's not a good basketball team.
Well, here's my problem with McNeese, right?
You're going to find that out today with James Madison too. James Madison is actually a good basketball team, but they're going to run into a buzzsaw today.
Here's my problem with McNeese State, right? Is that Will Wade wasn't that good at actually coaching basketball at LSU.
I said that.
He was really good at recruiting. He's a great recruiter.
Dude, and you guys jumped all over me.
I didn't. DeMarinis
the White, Brown, and Blue Review jumped all over me yesterday.
I did not. I actually don't work for that publication.
That's why I threw in the Brown.
And I'm pretty sure not a single Brown person does. If I had to check, I don't know. I don't think Joel Lorenzi's moonlighting for him or anything. Maybe Niata was a contributor. I'm not, though. I'm busy enough. I got stuff to do. No, that was DeMarinis. I wasn't defending Will Wade. I was saying Gonzaga's a week 5, which is why.
I told they're playing well.
They're playing a lot better.
They are. That's why I say you got to watch.
I understand that.
They offensively, they're in a rhythm.
That's fine, but I think that's why people were drawn to that matchup.
Yeah,
was McNeese has some athleticism.
I'm glad you didn't throw the state on there. I saw they finally got rid of it on the graphic.
Gonzaga was viewed as a week 5. I thought they were overseeded a little bit.
No, 100
for their resume.
100%.
Even though they were playing well for their resume.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
They were probably closer to a 6 or 7.
Ravi.
Yeah.
You don't have to quantify it. I agree with you.
Well, I'm just doing a radio show, so we gotta give context to things every once in a while.
How are we gonna? Looks like we made it.
Who knows?
When we get to the year mark, what are we gonna have?
We're gonna have a party,
cake and cookies.
I mean, as soon as we make it past 5 weeks, I'm throwing a party.
Let's go. Hey, want to celebrate Easter together?
Let's do it. No, so I think, but my problem with McNeese was Will Wade was bad at LSU. My biggest issue with some of his teams are okay, you got the number 1 pick in the draft. You got another guy that was going to go in the lottery or first round, whatever the other dude went that didn't end up being good at basketball. I guess Ben Simmons didn't end up being good at basketball either. Well, he's pretty good at basketball.
No, he didn't like basketball.
He's pretty good at basketball. He just doesn't care.
He just doesn't like it.
He just has no interest in playing basketball. Got a little, he got a little Deshaun Watson in him.
Wow.
But
so I'm gonna have to get used to this over the next couple of years because you got one of those vaulty kind of memories.
Yeah.
And you love to exaggerate.
Well,
it's not like I'm running this dude's fan club or anything. I just said D-Watt is better than you're giving him credit for.
DB here.
I'm not riding with this dude anywhere.
DB here, ride or die for Deshaun Watson. That's all I heard.
That's a lie.
But no, I mean, Will Wade was bad at LSU.
Yeah.
Really good recruiter. Really bad basketball.
So how come I didn't hear that clap back yesterday? You guys were ride or die with these 12-5, 13-4s kind of things.
My clapback was people are making the mistake of choosing McNeese because they think Gonzaga's overseeded, which is correct, but they're not actually looking at McNeese.
Man, you'll do anything to land that plane, won't you?
Yep.
You will zigzag the heck out of that thing. Waste all kind of fuel.
Yeah, I will. Listen, you got to make
you and Troy Dannon. Where are you going to take him next?
Wherever he needs to go.
Well, he's probably got to go get some more clothes.
Yeah, well, listen, he's got probably 8 Nebraska pullovers, and that's it.
Hey, did you see the introduction that Dennis gave him yesterday?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, Dennis introduced the new athletic director, and it was so cool. I was like, oh, I feel like I'm having a moment.
You getting your feels a little bit?
No, because I'm not nostalgic. I do like the fact, though. I like when, I like when people get along. So those moments where I see some adults in the room and young people are gravitating towards them. I like those moments. You know what I mean? And that was kind of was like, you had everybody was kind of in their warm up and, Dennis got to look athletic because he arguably has the best tie collection of maybe anybody in the state of Nebraska.
I mean, I would have a conversation about that, but
I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, he'd give Lindley's a run for their money, and Lindley's is off the chain.
Yeah.
No, Dennis has got some ties.
All right.
But anyway,
that's fine.
it was just good to see some and they're going to hit the ground running. See, there's no time for. I said this yesterday on Betting Bites. Like sometimes idle time can be the devil's playground, right? That's where we got the saying. And usually with a sitting AD that comes to take a job as somebody else's current AD, when a lot of the things are in place that they're at in Nebraska, sometimes you can think your way into okay, what's next? What's next? How can I put my fingerprints on this thing? How can I put my fingerprints on this thing? Like, or is there this period in time where you're like, you know what?
I don't really need to do anything.
Let me admire.
Yeah.
I kind of like your living arrangement here. I mean, let me give it some time, get comfortable, and see what I would tinker with. But for right now, I feel like I'm okay. So where will that athletic department, Dan and Nebraska's coaches be in on that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to go hit Coach Cook up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I were him, you know what I would do?
What's that?
Now, this is just me.
Yeah.
Because I have a weird affinity. Do you know where I would ask the plane to take me to next?
Where?
Kansas City.
Why is that?
Wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm going to go say what's up to Coach Manning, Coach Snyder, all those guys. It is an amazing event. My man Mike Jernigan is there now, sending me all sorts of pictures.
Well, and one of the
when you hit up KC,
that makes a lot of sense.
Wouldn't that be cool?
It's and
Manning's a heck. And hey, Coach Rule loves him some.
Well, and it shows that you care about all your athletic programs, because it's really hard to go to Memphis to see men's basketball, and then I don't know if he's going to try and make his way out to Corvallis if the women win or whatever, but then to not go.
It would have been nice if he could have went there first, right? He could have
just
up the street.
Could have just take a little walk. Just be like, hey, before I
because sometimes going to Corvallis, you feel like you got to go to Seattle, which is a whole state over, but it does feel like that.
It's like a whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're going to Seattle or Portland in the Pacific Northwest, it is horrible to get to anywhere.
Yeah.
But so it would be nice to be able to kind of stick your hand out and say, hey, we're here for you too. Whether it's not just football, it's not just men's basketball, obviously volleyball in the state of Nebraska, but to be able to go to Mark Manning and
apparently
say,
baseball is pretty good too. So maybe you can hit the
they'll be around.
Quintuple Fecta.
They'll be around though.
I wish in my random opening 22-minute spiel. Do you know what I wish? This has got nothing to do with anything except you actually said baseball.
Actually, you said baseball, but that's fine.
I'm sorry. What?
You brought it up. It's okay. It's cool. Go ahead.
I wish high schools would stream more like in football and basketball. I really do. Because I love baseball.
I know. You people, I think, don't realize how big of a baseball fan you are.
Yeah. I got Micah kind of into it now. He at least pays attention. And, he doesn't quite get like traditional powers and stuff. He's like, Dad, did you see that Millard South beat North? Whatever. I'm not gonna, whatever the score was, right? It wasn't good. And I go, I said that's a traditional state power against a program that's been building for a while. I said those kind of things can happen in baseball. And he goes, that doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm like, glad you didn't play baseball. First and only time I'll ever say that.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, but let's see if we can't stream more high school baseball games.
Yeah, that's DB's call to action. We will.
I'm not. Who am I? Damon Pillen?
Yeah, we will. Governor Regent Damon Pillen.
We will be back. We will be back.
Greg's done a tremendous job. They got Oregon's 1, but I think Creighton's 1A. You know, there's not much separation. They still love the school.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
You know, Greg's done a tremendous job. They got a tremendous program. I'm so happy for him. You know, I follow him. My family's all back in Nebraska. I think Oregon's 1, but I think Creighton's 1A. You know, there's not much separation. They still love the school.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We're live from the Pillar Exterior stage.
It's a cool name.
The difference between Dana and Trev is that he's waited 16 years to talk about what happened at Creighton. So there's a little bit of a difference. Also,
I think if nothing else, Nebraska fans should be able to ride with you that you are on their defense.
100%. I am absolutely on their defense because, like, I mean, it's ridiculous. It is a bad way to handle your business. Go take another job, do whatever you want.
The last 8 days, I have let you just get away with just dogging my friend.
Well, listen, your friend did some dumb bleep. I don't know what to tell you. Like, and I don't think you disagree with me. You're going to be nicer to him because you like him.
Well, I
don't think you disagree.
Because your friends don't always do things that you
sometimes
you like.
Sometimes your friends are dumb as hell.
I didn't say that.
I did.
Well, the vantage point, though, it's different. So, like, if we're talking about aptitude and decisions made, like, we don't have enough information to say that.
No, we don't. I'm going to anyway.
I mean, that's the difference, right? Like, I mean,
the more information, here's the problem, okay? Because I was on Trev's side on day one. Day one, I was on his side. I was like, the Board of Regents bleeped this up.
No, I think it's because you felt like my feelings were hurt.
No, it really wasn't.
Yeah,
I don't care about that.
Forget my feelings. Do you know Vrzal has a T-shirt that says that?
That doesn't surprise me at all.
It says "F your feelings."
Yeah, that is the least surprising thing I've ever heard about Matt Vrzal. Also, if you just said, "Hey, does anybody that we both know has the shirt that says F your feelings?" Who would it be? Matt Vrzal would be my number one guess.
Yeah. Well, that makes good sense.
No, it's you're allowed to. No, day one though, I was on Trev's side because I thought the Board of Regents bleeped up. I thought there's no way this guy leaves this place unless something horrible happened. That was my stance on day one. Day two, when he started speaking, I was like, oh, this guy might just be acting like a moron. Not that he is a moron, just acting like a moron. There's a difference there. That's why I said it like that, because I didn't want to hurt your feelings. I phrased it differently for you.
I can't stand you. Listen, if you took my temp right now, it's about 1019. And I'm totally chilling because it's Friday and we have basketball to go on.
And I'm not totally wrong. That's the other. I mean,
I'm not going to stand for the blasphemy much longer.
Well, we're going to find that line.
And this is the beauty of my personality. Like, I'm a let's figure it out guy.
Yeah.
So I don't need my pound of flesh. I can't go back and get it. How do we get better? And how do we get here? Right? The how do we get here is the first part. So they got to figure that part out. And I think that's what they're doing. The more Dr. Gold talks, the more I'm all in. And if we're mature enough, and I say this fully with my tongue planted in my cheek, if we are mature enough,
I'm almost certainly not,
to take politics and political views out of it and look at Nebraska as an academic and athletic institution.
That's a novel idea.
Not much to thumb your nose at.
No, in terms of an academic leader, I don't know that you could pick anyone better than Dr. Gold.
No, he may be overqualified, to be honest.
Probably.
And
I mean, he was a heart surgeon for 25 years. He probably is overqualified.
So you know what I love though?
Yeah.
He told you right away what he didn't know. Athletics isn't his thing.
Yeah.
But he didn't pretend that it was. You try to hire smart people and let people go to work
to help you fill in your blind spots.
Man, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
You could say just about anything else except don't talk bad about my mom. And I'm probably gonna ride with you. Because like that's half of it, right? Knowing what you don't know.
100%.
Surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you, all the things that I like.
Yeah, that's why you wanted to do a radio show with me.
I did, right. I was right when I texted, I was like, Ravi, I have got to come back. Help me be great. Ravi, can you help me be great? You're like, man, DB, I got you.
I got you.
What'd you say? Is it say no more or say no less? Say less. Say less.
I definitely didn't say that because I have no idea how kids talk these days.
Say less.
Chili's tweeted back at us. Did you see that?
No.
So you hit me up on Twitter because Chili's, they're running a ton of Chili's ad.
Dude, it was like between that and Nick Baugh and his salmon polo for Pella, I'm like,
that's all you could see.
I feel like these commercials are on loop.
So we saw.
He's like, hey, I want you to know what Pella did for my house.
We did a bunch of Chili's. We saw a bunch of Chili's ads. So you hit me up on Twitter and you tagged Chili's in it. And then I go, elite chips and salsa. They responded with all they said was, YAK and then a fire emoji. And I was like, some 20-year-old is running this account, and I don't know what the F that means.
YAK.
So I quote tweeted and I go, young people of Twitter, please let me know what this means. Apparently it means you already know, fire emoji.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
No, it was cool, but I was like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't even recognize what we're doing
Are
here.
you a little old and curmudgeon? Well, you're the one that wanted to live on Walt Kowalski's in his neighborhood.
I mean, maybe not in that particular neighborhood.
Could you stand if he called you names? Because he called his neighbor names, and they ate it like chimps.
Oh, I could stand for it. I don't know if he'd be standing for it. That's a different conversation.
You think you could whoop Walt?
Any 80-year-old man you put in front of me, I will beat him up.
Nobody can do
I
that.
don't know.
Any 80-year-old man.
Did you see how he punked the guys on the street to get the two kids to come home? Remember when they were messing with his cousin?
Yeah.
And he's like, hey. And he kind of just pulled his shirt up and showed him the.
I mean, listen, if he's willing to go to prison, that's fine.
Yeah, some people are.
Some people are. Some people don't mind it.
And for the second day in law, I lost my train of thought.
Me too.
I'm going to get pissed here in a minute. Stop doing that.
I didn't do it.
Yes, you did.
You're the one bringing up Gran Torino.
But like with so going back to Dana's comment and waiting 16 years.
Yeah.
It was just part of the question.
Right.
And he answered it beautifully and moved on.
So he didn't unprompted stick his hand back into a cookie jar where it didn't belong?
Because he knows it's about the young men.
You would think Trev would know that as well.
Stop it. That's why he's not going today.
Right. Would he have gone today if he didn't just get
he's not
torched?
He's not running his Twitter account.
Well, somebody needs to get a hold of whoever who is and have him find the Chili's guy, hire that person to run their Twitter account so he can just say yak fire emoji.
I'm gonna get you one. I'm gonna see if Vrzal can order me one of those t-shirts because you would rock that too.
Just not in front of my mom. I don't swear in front of my mom. Let's get to the phone line. Jesse wants to talk about Trev. Jesse, what's going on, man?
Oh, not much. I'm away.
Jesse?
Yeah, what's up, fellas?
How we doing?
My bracket's trash. I'm good.
All right. No. Don't be that guy, Jesse. Hang in there. Yes, it's a.
I am.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
My national champion is still alive. Sure. That's all that matters.
Stop it. What did I tell you about that?
You love hearing about brackets. Hey, how do I look? I've been going to the gym.
Go, Jesse. I'm sitting next to a ding dong.
Sorry, Jesse. Go ahead, bud.
It's okay. No, I'm historically better on day 2 than day 1 anyway. So we'll see how it goes.
Go history. Go history.
Yeah. Hey, just talking about this Trev thing. I was trying to figure out how to approach this without hurting
my feelings.
Yeah.
I'm a grown up. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. What's up, bud?
You can't hurt mine. I'm dead inside.
I guess I'm not really speaking to you two. I'm speaking to Husker Nation as a whole. You got to understand how unique it is to care this much about an athletic director. Because I got to tell you, I'm a Notre Dame guy, and if Damon was like, Jesse, I'll cut you a check for $500,000 right now if you could tell me the name of Notre Dame's athletic director, I would not have $500,000.
Is it Jack Swarbrick still?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it Jack? Yeah. Okay.
Pay that
man. And you're a sports guy too.
Pay that man his money.
That's what I'm trying to get you guys. It's the fishbowl thing here. Like here in Omaha, Lincoln, it makes sense, but outside of there, I don't know that it does, and it's weird. I think it's weird that I guess the situation merits the coverage, but overall, like, who cares?
Right,
I guess I don't care who the athletic director is.
So yes and no. I'm with you, and you're always super practical, which is one of the things that I think I like about you, Jesse. But remember, it's been so tumultuous and uniquely connected to athletics. I think we feel pot committed.
Also, the way that he talked about this place before he left.
Stop it.
Made us feel like he was never leaving.
Stop it. We've had some bad ones though, Jesse. We're traumatized.
Jesse, we appreciate the call. I can't promise you we're not going to talk about it more, but
I'm not.
I mean, I probably will because I'm petty.
And kind of a jerk.
Coody, hang on the line. We'll get your call coming up next here as we wrap up hour number 1 on Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
I'd always looked at Nebraska with this level of admiration. It was the standard. When I've grown up, it was the standard by which success was measured. And, to get here and see that it's the same culture, it's the same people, it's the same facility, it's all these same things. Sometimes we get lost romanticizing the past a little bit, but this is my romance. And so even though I didn't own it, I wasn't from here, I didn't go here, this is what I grew up with, and to be here and be a part of it's pretty awesome.
Wrapping up hour number one here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage. And before we get any further, I want to make sure we get to our guy, Coody, because I know DB wants to talk some wrestling. Coody wants to talk some wrestling.
I love to talk wrestling. Commander Coody.
Coody, what's up, bud?
Damon, Ravi, what's up, gentlemen?
Hi, buddy. How are you? Are you parenting right now, or are you on your way to work? Or
my
are you...
blood is still boiling.
Why?
Van D.
I know. 133 pounds. That's good. That's a tough class, though, Coody. Tough class.
Yeah, I'm sure you saw me going off last night, but
So who are you? So who are you going with now, Kai?
Oh no, I've had Crookham since the beginning.
Okay, all right,
dude.
Well,
but
Coody here for favorites.
Oh. Yeah.
I thought you may take like an underdog or something.
Yeah, no, I was so upset for the Van D match. But can't be too upset when you get 7 guys in quarterfinals.
Yeah, only seconded to, drum roll please. Who has the most, Coody?
Who has the most? It's Penn State with 8.
Yeah, I know. But Nebraska's second at 7, which is 2 more than the Cyclones.
Which is wild that only gets them 6th in points right now.
It's complicated scoring. That's part of it.
Yeah, but I mean,
I have
a grinder this morning. We got some tough draws.
So, do you realize, Coody, because you're my buddy, I can share this with you and our 4 listeners and our 30,000 people that are on digital platforms. I actually split screen and then put full screen with wrestling yesterday during college basketball. Ooh, is that okay to say it loud?
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm
I'm
all grown up.
Your friends aren't listening and aren't gonna let this get to their head.
Yeah.
But you brought up your boy Jernigan.
Yeah.
And I'm in a group chat with him, Bob, Ranky, Reed Weber, and Chuck.
So both Mulligans. You're in a group text with both Mulligans.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
They were fired up last night. Obviously, they're down there in Kansas City, so they're having a good time. But
I just send Jernigan silly TikToks. But I got to ask you something real quick, because you and I were going through this real time. So it's basically you, me, and my buddy Degenerate Aaron. He's a huge wrestling nut, and we were going through the seedings real time. And I asked you about like Carr and O'Toole on the same side, and I get it. I get why Ramirez had it. Who do you think Bennett?
Ramirez about got taken out by our boy Nick Hamilton yesterday.
Oh, I know, because he gets.
If that goes another 15 seconds, Nick Hamilton's wrestling this morning.
I think he was gassed.
Nick is wrestling this morning because he came back to the backside. But.
So who was the most underseeded guy? Was it Staroki?
Well.
And I get why he was underseeded.
That's the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, but he was 9.
Yeah, well, Andonian was 12.
Yeah, good point.
At 57.
Antonian's a dog, man.
How about Caleb Smith, though?
I think I woke up the whole Olive Millard yesterday when he won.
Well, that and Antrell getting like the TF in his first ever, like, that's nationals.
Yeah.
It's wrestling. Like,
Well,
I'll
and
forever be
Antrell-
respectful. Like, Antrell he's got a chance to be a dude.
Yeah, and what's crazy is I'm sitting there texting the guys. They get to late second period last night. I'm like, dude, Antrell looks gassed.
Yeah.
And then he just goes out and gets another takedown and goes back to leading by 6 or 7. And like, oh, maybe I was wrong.
So, you know, Lenti is Lenti. I just combined Lenny Pinto and Lenti.
Yeah, Lenny and Pinto.
So Pinto is probably my favorite to watch, and it's no disrespect to Ridge but everybody loves Ridge, right? Everybody loves Ridge. So I kind of picked an off the radar guy when he was young, Gurr. So this goes all the way back to early.
Screw Lenny last night.
Oh, I know. Believe me. We can talk about that.
On that stalling call.
So I try to get back. So I'm gonna pick an under the radar guy, but I'm cheering hard for Caleb because he's in a brutal weight class. He had a double-digit seed, unlike guys like Brock Hardy, who I thought were misseeded too. But do you think do you think the book was out on Hardy? Is that why he was a 9? Do you think? Because he didn't have the kind of year that the repeat performance.
But I also chalk that up to there's a million different ways you could have seeded 125 and no one would have argued.
Oh yeah. So are you trying to tell me to stop crying over Caleb Smith seeds?
Caleb was he underseeded, yeah, especially being a returning qualifier. But if we're going to do that, the one that really bugs me is Jared Sema is in the quarterfinals today.
Well, he doesn't have a lot of help. I mean, you thought he had easy street or what?
No, Sema got the wild card over Bubba, even though Bubba beat him.
Yeah.
And Bubba had a better percentage. Bubba had a better strength of schedule. but Sima had other, it was kind of a 50-50 split. You could have argued either one. And then here's this guy that barely got in. Now he's in quarterfinals.
That's what happens.
For you and I.
Hey, let me get you out of here on this. I'll give you 41-65. What else is really competitive? 41-65. 25 and 57. Which weight class are you most looking forward to?
I would say 65.
Yeah. Just you think it
74 topside. Hey, Mackay, the way Strachey looked yesterday, I wouldn't count Mackay out.
Yeah, but you can't. So at 65, you still have O'Toole and Carr on the same side, though. That's not fun.
No, it's not. Hey, O'Toole's got to get through intro.
No, I get you, but got to shake the nerves. Is this the real? Is this the real Real Woods that we're seeing?
I think so.
God, you talk about a three.
Hamity's going to push Carr too.
Yeah. I don't know. I worry about. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's explosive. Going to be explosive. If that thing gets late in the third or something, I don't know if he's explosive enough.
Yeah, but he's got that length.
To keep him at bay. I mean, was he Darlando Hill or somebody? I get the length, but
hey, Darlando was all right, wasn't he?
No, he's really good.
Yeah. 7 quarterfinals. You know the matchups. What do you say our record is this morning?
I'll go 3-4.
That's where I went. 25, 49, 84.
Yep, I'll go 3-4.
Yep. All right, I'll be texting you.
All right, buddy.
Talking wrestling.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you.
Hey, buddy.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that grace, Ravi.
Am I good? Can I tap back in now?
Oh God, that was so kind of you.
You good? We good?
You still owe me lunch, but that was kind of you.
I'm gonna.
I know sometimes for folks that don't cover wrestling, it's not scintillating, but thank you.
No, I understand. I don't have anything against wrestling.
It's
I just
so exciting.
Don't know anything about it.
I get it.
Like I've watched Nebraska several times this year,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm happy when they win. I got into it because of Nash, and I wanted to see how he was doing and how he looked at like 285, although he was probably walking around at like 300 and just cutting some weight, like whatever. And so I like it. I enjoy watching it. I just don't. I'm not educated enough on it to have any sort of conversation about it.
Can I ask you something real quick about Nash?
Sure.
Can I have permission?
Yeah.
Permission
granted.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If you're Nash, what do you play at?
I would love it if he played under, like between 305 and 315.
Really?
Because he played 335 last year?
That sounds heavy now.
335 sounds too heavy. And
no, I think 315 kind of sounds heavy now.
315 is on the very high end. I would love him at like 305.
Can you imagine?
But I'll give him some grace up to 315.
If he was like at 300.
I mean, we're talking 300, 305. We're kind of splitting hairs there.
No, actually not, though. I guess the bigger you are,
the less that 5 pounds matters.
Yeah.
Like that. So, I mean, you could call it 300, you could call it 305. I don't want him much lighter than 300, I don't think, because he still needs to have some of that mass. But he will move infinitely better at 305 than he did, or 300 than he did at 335. Because
but look at some of these D lines, man, like Newton, and I mean, you look at the way Iowa plays on the D line. Like they don't have. Look at Michigan.
They don't have a ton of huge.
Jenkins isn't a big. Those guys aren't big guys.
No, but I think Nash is.
They're explosive guys.
Which I think Nash is going to look incredibly more explosive at 300 if he plays that low, 300 or 305 if he plays that light next year.
I mean, do you remember watching Benton last year from Wisconsin?
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa.
I liked how Nash played last year. I thought his size prevented him from finishing plays at the rate I would have liked.
How about his coaches being all in too, like
on the wrestling?
Yeah.
No, I love it.
Night is like real time.
I think they understand that this is good for them.
And
not just good for him.
And he's a good dude.
Coming up next, we're going to talk to Parker Gabriel because we haven't set the lineup yet today. He's from
Isn't that weird?
The Denver Post. We're going to talk some Denver Broncos, I guess, for some reason.
We could talk everything.
We're going to talk to Mike Sautter at 9, Jessica Coody at 9:30, Matt Vrzal at 9:45. First hour's not over. We got the lineup out. Still counts.
Air dap.
We've got more Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Kicking off hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. We're also live from the Pillar Exterior stage. DB is mad at me because I couldn't teach him how to do something on the internet that he also could not figure out.
Well, you're supposed to be smarter than me. You're the IT guy.
I'm not an IT guy. That's racist.
You're mad.
Anybody can be good at IT. What do you mean?
Why is everybody a racer, by the way?
You can't just be like, my Indian counterpart here must know how to fix the internet.
Do you not usually fix my computer problems?
I do, but that's a coincidence.
Oh. Why didn't I know that?
I just happen to be good at IT.
Do IT guys eat yogurt?
Wow.
Shane, quit being so racist over there.
What?
I don't even know. I don't even know. Parker's going.
Parker's like, what am I getting into? It's a good thing he knows me though. He knows I get a little squirrely.
Parker Gabriel from the Denver Post joining us now. Parker, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing? Long time no talk. I see a lot changed.
Yeah, right? PG, at least I'm consistent. Hey, listen, this is like a coming home of sorts, right? Like you started with me.
Yeah, that's true. Right out of the gate from August of 2017 when the Broncos let's see, what was Nebraska up to in August 2017? They're about to change athletic directors and football coaches. And there was a lot of turmoil. It sounds, in a way,
I looked to the guy that I was working with, and I'm like, have you been reading this Parker Gabriel stuff? He's really good. Do you think he can do radio?
Boy, were you wrong.
That's how it started, PG. That's how it started.
That's true. Yep, it is. And it seems like yesterday in a lot of ways.
Hey, so let me just backtrack just for a second, because around here, as a Steelers fan, I am getting my timeline a couple of weeks ago, 10 days ago, was miserable with everybody tweeting me Russell Wilson stuff, right? But I'm not anti-Russ. I was anti. I don't know if he could fit the city's type, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How bad can a guy's type be to eat that payroll?
Well, when you put it in, when you measure it in the head coach's type, apparently bad enough, because it was just, I think the thing with Russell Wilson here is, obviously he played bad in 2022. There's no doubt about it. Everybody did. It was a mess. It didn't work with Nathaniel Hackett. And then I think it's hard to separate, and we don't really do that all that well, especially when it comes to sports and especially when it comes to the NFL. But I think it was sort of a separate issue this last year, and it really had more to do with how Russell Wilson plays compared to how Sean Payton wished he would play, than it did like Russell can't play anymore. Russell, his whole vibe is a problem, whatever. Like, he and Sean Payton could not be more different as dudes. Like, they're just oil and water.
Mm.
But you can bridge that gap if on the football field you have that synergy. And they just didn't. And they didn't to the point where, Sean Payton said, hey, look, you guys paid me a lot of money to come here and fix this. Not as much as Russ, obviously, but you paid me a lot of money to come here and get this back on the right track. And, I need a mind meld at quarterback. And not only do I not have a mind meld at quarterback, but, I cannot figure this guy out. And so that's what ultimately, would you have liked to have been able to make it work for another year or two for monetary reasons? Yeah, but sometimes it's just to the point where I think it is legitimately better for all sides to sort of start fresh. And that's a pretty wild thing to say, considering the Broncos have to figure out where to park $85 million in dead cap over the next 2 years.
Parker, considering obviously the Russell Wilson experiment didn't work, where do you see Denver turning next for their quarterback? I think people assume they're going to draft one in the first round, but maybe there's a guy early second that they like a little better.
Yeah, you had a great piece. And full disclosure, PG, Ravi and I both love this guy that I think you're getting ready to talk about.
Yeah, good. So do I, but it's going to be really interesting. But Denver's problem in the draft is that they pick number 12, which does not seem like a bad place to be. The issue with that, of course, as you guys know, and as probably people that pay attention to the NFL know, is it is shaping up to probably be a feeding frenzy at quarterback at the top of the draft. And so the Broncos, let's say 3 guys come off the board the first 3 picks. JJ McCarthy is also sort of in that conversation now. Seems like that's happened pretty fast.
It's wild to me. I can't.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
You know what's funny, Ravi, is that like I think I've been covering the NFL for 2 years now, and I think I must have like I must have transformed to like full NFL brain, because I watch him and I'm like, I like him. I think you're getting a player who's on the up and who's young and who will learn and all of that. And then everyone I talk to that covers the Big Ten is like, why would you pick this guy in the top 8? And so it's interesting. But where the Broncos are is you either got to pay an arm and a leg to go up, or you got to find a guy who can work, whether it's at 12 or maybe even by trading back and picking one. And that sort of brings you to the Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. conversation. And as you guys were referring to, I talked to Luke McCown this week, who played quarterback for Sean Payton for 5 years as a backup in New Orleans. And he loves Penix, and he thinks that Sean Payton will watch Penix and love him too. And just because of the obvious arm talent, because of the ability to put the ball exactly where he wants to put it pretty much all the time. And he gets, obviously, has the injury thing. That's the big question. He gets a little bit bothered when there's people around him. Saw that even like at the Senior Bowl, it was like that. I was down there, and when there were people kind of like around his base, it wasn't like Josh Allen where it just doesn't matter. The accuracy got a little bit squirrely at times, but man, I mean, when he's right and when he knows where he's going with the ball, it's a sight to behold. And so I think you're probably talking about that realm of maybe JJ McCarthy. Maybe they love Jaden Daniels so much that if he gets past 2, they try to figure out a way. But I think more likely you're talking about, that Nix Penix conversation, and you could go either way on that. But I wrote a big story about Michael Penix Jr. for this morning, so that would be a pretty good guess today.
Well, I could not go either way on Bo Nix or Michael Penix, because the guy that I understand even less than JJ McCarthy right now is Bo Nix, apparently flying up into. I mean, you may not even be able to get Bo Nix at 12 the way people are talking about him right now, which is wild to me. I at least sort of understand the JJ McCarthy thing, although I think like middle first round makes more sense for him. I do not understand a world in which people want Bo Nix over Michael Penix.
Yeah, it's super interesting, Ravi. And like, there's a whole philosophical conversation about, quarterbacks and just kind of like what you're aiming to do. Like, obviously, if you're Denver, like you are looking for an answer for a decade, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in some way, like you also, this is the problem with 12. Like, if you told me you were going to get Bo Nix at let's say 40, they don't have a second round pick, but let's say somehow you're moving around the draft, you're going to take him,
sure,
in the second round or something like that. I can buy that just from the sense that, like, if he's serviceable, we saw this with Sam Howell, and a couple weeks ago, where it's like, if a guy is serviceable, he is going to hold value as a quarterback in the NFL. Bo Nix also, like, 61 games in college. Like, there should be, he's going to be asked. He and Michael Penix Jr. And probably the guys at the top 2, but those 2 in particular I think they'll be treated as guys who are potential. Like, the team that drafts them is hoping that they're a franchise guy, but in a way, they're also going to be bridge guys because they've played so much college football. I mean, Bo Nix has started 61 games. You're not saying, okay, Bo Nix, you've got a redshirt year or 2. You're probably throwing him in there to see what you've got. And then the question is, is he your guy for, is he he can get you through a couple years until you really figure it out? Is he actually that guy?
Mm-hmm.
And the value proposition there's different, obviously, if you get that guy in the second or third round compared to if you spend the number 12 pick on him.
Parker, I'm going to ask you one more NFL question before I get back to Nebraska, because I think you're uniquely qualified to talk about both. When you're looking at, you followed college football for a while. You understand it really, really well, much longer than you did the NFL. Do you get, or have you rationalized in your head how the dollars have to make sense, and how sometimes, like, what you see in college may or may not translate to the NFL level. In your position that's watched so much college football, do you understand kind of the dynamic of the draft process?
A little bit. I mean, it is crazy though. I mean, NFL, there's still that sense, I think, NFL people will fall in love with traits, rather than production. And then there's also part of it that's like, I mean, you could take, I don't know, who's a good example this year? I mean, Dallas Turner's a decent example, right? Like he didn't have Will Anderson's production at Alabama, but part of that's like because Will Anderson was there until this year. And so like at some level, you're betting that a guy with that, skill set and a guy who came on strong as last year is going to turn into, that kind of player. Like if you were going to draw up the, 10 best players in college football last year, would he make the list? Maybe he would, but not if you were certainly not if you're going by stats, and probably not if you were going even by who had the most sort of eye-popping, freakish season. But he is going to be picked probably in the top 10 because of, how you're projecting, and of course the value of getting after the quarterback. So there's a lot. I mean, there's so many, like think about the Broncos just traded Jerry Jeudy, who's a good wide receiver who has not fully tapped into his potential yet, and they got a 5th and 6th round pick for him.
Yeah.
They gave up they got a 5th and a 6th for him, and then he got $41 million fully guaranteed and $19 million a year on an extension from Cleveland. So the question,
and you don't even know who's going to be throwing him passes and at what level, right? Like that's weird.
Right, and not only that, but like you've seen the skill set, but you've not seen him, do it at a number one wide. But at this point, $19 million a year is not even number one wide receiver money in the NFL.
Mm.
So, like, they're thinking, well, we could pay Marvin Mims $1.2 million this year and get similar production to Jerry Jeudy at $19 million a year. That's a no-brainer. But that makes you wonder, like, how is it when Marvin Harrison and Rome Odunze and Malik Neighbors are at the top of the draft that there's still guys that, Calvin Ridley gets $24 million a year. So it's a wild world, and college football is now these days too.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, just because part of it is because you're pretty measured, and the other is because you have range, right? So from Bozeman to where all the places that you've been, why do you think when you were here and you're seeing it now play out real time, that Nebraska has struggled with the whole chancellor, president, AD, football? Like, why is that dynamic, in your opinion, do you think, so elusive with Nebraska athletics? Like, what did you see?
That's a great question, Damon. Because I covered a couple of presidents.
Yeah.
Ted Carter wasn't there for very long before I left, but it was the transition from Hank Bounds to Ted Carter, and then obviously, like, technically, I guess I covered 3 ADs. I think part of it is when you look around. Like, I remember doing this when Bill Moose left, and obviously, like, I don't think Moose was bad in every way. Certainly he was interesting to cover. But when you look around, like, these are not like legacy jobs anymore. And that's not particular to Nebraska. I mean, I think that's the way it is. So you have an environment now where somebody who is an AD for 10 years at one school is the exception rather than the rule. I mean, that's part of it. I was stunned, obviously, that Trev left. I hadn't been following from afar, obviously, but so that's part of it. And then, there's so many schools that have, I think it's interesting because, like, the Big Ten and the SEC are separating in terms of the financial power and just a massive windfall of money. And at the same time, there's a lot of schools out there that have a lot of money. And so you just don't have the same, it's not like, hey, I'm going to, Nebraska, and I'm going to be the AD there for 25 years. I grew up in Bozeman. I'm going to Montana State. I just want to be the AD there, and that's all. Like, if you're good, you're going to have opportunities, and if you don't do well enough, you're going to be out, and schools are making those decisions really fast. So, I mean, look at how fast Nebraska moved to hire Troy Damon.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost, like, when you're talking about coaching searches, AD searches, this cycle, it seems like, obviously Matt Rule was a lot different last year, but like, when you look at the interval now, it's like you'd better have somebody in a week. That's preposterous. I mean, that is incredible to me. Like that's where it is. It's like, hey, the collective needs to know. The guys going in the portal need to know. Everybody needs to know. And so it's like when Nick Saban retired, and that seemed like that had been sort of maybe going on behind the scenes. But Byrne came out and said, like, we'll have a replacement in 72 hours. Like that is fundamentally much different than it was even 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And so part of it is just some of it maybe is just desensitization or I can't say that word, but being desensitized to the amount of change that there is in college athletics now. It's like, oh, okay, the AD left, well, we better just go hire another one. Coach left, we'll go hire another one. Quarterback left for $2 million somewhere, let's just go to the portal and find another one. So it's sort of like there's always been a lot of change, but it just seems like there's a lot more now. I know that's not a Nebraska specific answer, but that's part of what it looks like from here.
Parker, we're talking with Parker Gabriel of the Denver Post. Parker, as you kind of, every time this happens, you talk about this sped up timeline, and I kind of think about how some of the biggest decisions we make in our lives are done in abbreviated timelines. And I go to buying a house, right? Think about how much time you actually spend in the house you're about to buy before you actually buy it. It's like maybe an hour, right? Like you do the initial visit and then maybe a walkthrough. And if you take your time on both of those, you spend maybe an hour in a house, and then you're going to make the biggest purchase of your life based on that hour. And that's kind of what all these universities are doing now too. You have like one, maybe two conversations with a guy. Maybe you meet him in person. Maybe you don't. And then all of a sudden you're like, all right, here's several $1 million and the keys to the kingdom. Let's go. Like we're doing insane things here, right? Like, how do you not get to spend the night in a house that you want to buy? Like, that doesn't make any sense at all.
That would be, maybe you could carve out maybe you could build a real estate empire on the idea that, like, hey, if you buy a house from me, we find a way to get you in the house for a night before you actually do it.
It's crazy when you think about it, right?
Yeah, but recruiting has gone that way too, right? I mean, like Deion Sanders sort of went by.
I still can't believe
especially
that.
with the portal.
We're gonna get to that later. That's right in your backyard. Like, WTH, Parker.
Yeah.
How does that play?
It's ridiculous.
Right. I was up there too. I was up there on Tuesday. He said that was a Wednesday thing when he was talking about how he'd never, done an in-home visit or been to a high school or something since he'd been the coach of Colorado. And I was up there the day before. So this is just like I know it's different at Colorado and it's an extreme example, but I was at their pro day on Tuesday, and there were no guys working out that were like, Xavier Weaver's hurt. So I went up there just to kind of see what was going on. And 9 guys worked out. And I asked one of the staffers if any of them had been there for 2 years or 4 years, and they just laughed. They're like, no.
It's 2024, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a college coach gets up there and says, no, I don't want to come to your house. Basically, a lot of the kids who are recruiting, they're going to be embarrassed if we come to their house. I want them to come here. And can you imagine? And he feels like he's uniquely qualified. I'm like, that's not true, because if Frost went to Bellevue West and didn't go to West Side, like, West Side would be mad, right? Like, it's not just because you're a Florida guy. That is so not unique to you. The warped sense of self-worth was I couldn't believe I was hearing it out loud.
The funny thing about it, though, Damon, was there was this part of me that was, I know enough college coaches. I've seen enough of them do the recruiting whirlwind thing that I was thinking, like, every coach who sees this is going to be like, what in the world is this guy talking about? And there's going to be a small part of their brain that is going to be like, he's a genius. What, like the answer to the question is like, yeah, they are going to be mad. That's why you just do it 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
And you run yourself into the ground going to 25 schools a day. Like that's part of the reason why you do that, is that way the schools don't get mad at you. But maybe the real answer is, just don't go. Just don't do it.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. That doesn't seem super sustainable.
I do like that answer though, PG, and you're smart. Like that's why I kind of asked you, because.
But he's only a genius if it works. That's the problem.
That's the thing,
That's
right?
the problem.
So what I was gonna say is you don't know the success story yet. It's only genius if he recruits at a high level over time, and you're like, oh, maybe there is something to that. Because in a nut, like at first blush, it's like, so you're just not gonna go anywhere. And
Parker, can you shed any light? Because I heard, and I don't know if this is true, and you're an actual journalist, and I just talk on the radio. Do you know, I heard or read or something that he actually gets a cut of the recruiting budget that they save? Do you know if that's accurate?
I don't know if that's true. I'm not saying it's not. I don't know if it's true. Okay. I know that there's a unique revenue setup. I mean, and I don't know all of it, but I just know that if you go up to Boulder, like the lobby that we did interviews in after pro days outside the team store in the stadium, and like it is not like, SCO Buffs or whatever. Like it's prime everywhere. I mean, it has been the whole program has been entirely primified, and you guys, I'm sure you tell that even like in September last year up here. Now you just have several more months of that and the wave of the early season and all that to go with it. But like, so I don't know how all of that works. But
so clearly everybody is okay with one man being significantly greater than the institution
for now.
Yeah, you saw the AD was named the AD of the year, and it's because he brought that guy in, and it's a lot different in Boulder than it was a year ago. I don't, good, bad, or otherwise, that's true.
Wow, AD of the year for a
Parker,
four-win team. Incredible.
You continue to never disappoint, man. Your range is spectacular.
We'll have to catch up again soon.
Yep, no doubt.
Thanks, PG.
We've got more Hurrdat Sports Radio coming up next.
We will be back. 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 Radio.
Gets the double. Hurrdat. He's got 32.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Gets the double. Hurrdat. He's got 32. The fourth duck to score at least 30 in an NCAA tournament game.
And another turnover. Davis with a steal up ahead. Cano. And down it goes.
Mayo has it blocked away from Jones. Here comes Gilbert right to the rack. Count the bucket.
Following it. Nope. Reeves puts up a three. No good. And Altman with the March memory of a lifetime.
We're halfway through the show here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We're on the Pillar Exterior stage. And if you would like to have a March of a lifetime, you got to make sure you activate your entries that you got for the Warhorse Casino $1 Million Challenge. You got to go to the casino in Lincoln, which you should do anyway, because then you can maybe place a few bets on some games today. Go out there, get your, I don't know how that's relevant, but go out there, get your entries.
He wants you to do it today.
Yes, I do want you to do it today. You've got through Monday, though. Nope, just kidding. That is Sunday. You've got through Sunday, the 24th, to activate those entries for that bracket challenge to win $1 million with a perfect bracket. Your prop card challenge, you've got through the 28th to get more entries for that and you can win $100,000 on that prop card challenge. Those props are for the semifinal and finals of the tournament game. Make sure you go to warhorsecasino.com for more details on how trying to win a little bit of money, have a memorable March, not just for our guy Jack Golke, but for you as well.
Wasn't that crazy?
That was one of okay. Let's do this now. Tom Izzo can pry the mid-majors out of my cold dead hands. All right. This is the reason why your tournament that has, by the way, made you millions, Tom Izzo, despite the fact that you haven't really done jack in 2000 was a long time ago now, bud. I'm just saying. A long time ago. Mateen Cleaves ain't walking through that door.
Muddy Cleaves?
Mo Peterson ain't walking through that door.
That's what I used to call him.
Tom Izzo out here hating on mid-majors and automatic buys. Guess what? We don't get Jack Golke without mid-majors getting automatic buys, all right? And that's the thing at the end of the day. That is why people love this tournament as much as they do. Otherwise, it's just another sporting event.
So if you're John Calipari, are you getting rid of all your staff? Are you firing yourself?
I think you have to reevaluate
Or are you
the entire
are you asking
way.
if you're in Lexington, are you asking who has 33 mil?
Well, I know people in Lexington are asking who has 33 mil. And I'm guessing the University of Kentucky boosters do, right? Because he's the highest paid coach in the land by a mile. I think he's like 12, like 11 or 12, which is the next guy is 6 or 8
by a mile.
I mean, there's a gap there, right? But I think if you're John Calipari, you have to ask yourself if this is a sustainable way to run your program. And I think the answer is a resounding no. For the amount of talent that he's come through there, he's got one national title. That's underperforming. I mean, it just is.
If you're watching that game last night, isn't it crazy how what's ailed you all year is what continued to do you in? You just couldn't get a stop.
I mean, it's not crazy. It's totally logical. It is the most logical thing to happen.
My point in saying that,
and their 3-point defense in particular,
Ravi,
yes,
is over time, if you're developing, you continually try to
get better,
yeah, and work on your weaknesses. Or did you just throw in the towel and say, okay? Because I saw it yesterday, because for the guy that you keep hating on in Izzo, they sure seem to score the ball and shoot it better than they did all year yesterday.
I'm not hating on him as a coach. I'm hating on him on his philosophies.
But what I'm saying is like that's what coaching is.
Yeah.
It's not to sit idly by.
I mean, listen, I've had this argument with, I don't know if I've had it with you. I've had it with Matt DeMarinis about how good of a coach is John Calipari, right? Incredible recruiter. I think he's pretty good.
I don't think anybody's still on the he's a good coach thing, are they?
I mean,
is DeMarinis? That would disappoint me.
No. He thinks he's not a good coach.
Okay, I was going to say, like, I think that's been proven, especially offensively.
My only argument is recruiting is part of the equation, right? It's the same thing with Tony Bennett. If you're not getting guys that can score the ball, part of that's on you, or all of that's on you, because that's your job too, right? So we can't separate. You can tell me, hey, Calipari's terrible at X's and O's. I'd be like, yeah, I can't argue with you there. He's terrible at development. Yeah, I can't really argue with you there. Totally fair, right? But the other half of it, the recruiting, the player acquisition, all of that, he's incredible at, right? So he's really, really good, probably elite at least half of his job, right? Now, the other half, that matters.
Apparently he can fundraise.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of the factors of his job that he's actually really good at.
Although
now
that might be kind of built in being in
maybe
Lexington.
Although not, I mean, we've seen people go to other places. I'm thinking about football coaches in Texas that aren't good at that, and it shows, right? Like Charlie Strong was not good at that part of the job. He just wants to go coach football. He doesn't want to have to run for governor while he's doing it, right? Calipari is okay with the running for governor part. He's okay with the shaking hands and kissing babies and recruiting players. It's the actual coaching of basketball that's a little bit tricky for him. And it sounds funny, and it sounds like I'm saying that facetiously.
Oh, because I think part of it is you are.
But he's actually really good at a decent chunk of the job. He really is. And you can't sit here and look at a guy that's made Final Fours at 3 different schools, although I think only 2 of them still count, or one of them still counts. But we saw him make, UMass, Memphis, and Kentucky make Final Fours. Like, I can't sit here and say that guy's a bad basketball coach, right? Like, maybe he's not the way people viewed him at one time, but there is a there's an argument to be made that the thing that he pioneered, the one and done, and just going all in on that, no longer works for him.
You do realize, though, like, have you just thought to yourself that Tubby Smith and John Calipari have the same amount of national championships at Kentucky?
Yeah, that's incredibly damning for John Calipari.
Yeah.
It's the same way that Sean Payton having the same number of Super Bowls as Mike McCarthy is incredibly damning.
But
for Sean
we've
Payton.
at least acknowledged now that they're the same
We
person.
have now, but for a long time we didn't.
You're right. Probably up to like the last 2 years.
Yeah,
because I didn't start hearing the McCarthy
until he returned
Payton,
to Denver.
until he came back.
Yes. He was this mythical. He was the guy that was supposed to fix Dallas after they inevitably fired McCarthy. Right?
So it's like, yeah, because I remember I had a meltdown.
By the way, though,
of why would you give up draft picks to get rid of a guy that you're replacing?
Who's the
as
exact
same guy.
Yeah, it's like,
I remember.
It's the Superman meme where you're just pointing at each other and you look.
Is it Spider-Man or Superman?
Oh, it's
Shane?
Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man.
It's Spider-Man.
Shane's getting a comic book
Spider-Man's
today.
my Huckleberry. So
Hey Shane, what time you going to get that new comic book?
I got it yesterday.
Did you?
I'll be your Huckleberry.
Yeah.
Nice.
But let's not forget, same number of national titles as Tom Izzo, by the way, also.
Yeah. So I
like,
watched
that part of it's hard.
I watched the semifinals. I think it was the semifinals. Did they play Florida in the semis or the Elite Eight, or it wasn't the championship when Michigan State won it?
They, I believe, beat Florida in the title.
Was that the title game?
Yeah, I
Because
believe
Muddy
so.
Cleaves rolled his ankle.
Yeah,
and
I
then
believe
came
that was
back
the title game.
Yeah.
In 2000?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the title game.
By the way, let's play a little game real quick.
Yeah, let's do it. We got 2 minutes.
I think you can do it. There's 6 schools that have won multiple national championships since 2000.
North Carolina
is 1.
Duke
is 2.
Kansas
is 3.
UConn
is 4.
Florida
5.
Oh, Villanova.
Isn't that weird?
What?
Like, that's it.
Yeah. It's hard to win more than one. It's hard to win one. Really hard to win more than one.
It's pretty good though.
But for the way that we talk about Tom Izzo, it's kind of a hole on his resume. We talk about Izzo like he's an all-timer. We do, right? We talk about like he was an all-timer.
Correct.
All the other all-timers have more than one. That's all I'm saying.
I don't even disagree with that.
Like, he can be in that next tier if he wants to be. But
Yeah, but you know who they have next on the docket?
for their coach,
No, for their matchup.
who's that?
North Carolina.
Yeah,
I'm gonna leave Izzo alone for the time being
that's fine. I'm gonna just point out some historical.
because it's not like I'm fawning over Hubert Davis.
No,
although I'm gonna tell you, and I've said this all along. Carolina, while they may be the weakest one, is, and I've said this since I've been back, it's very, very they're one of the few teams that can win a national championship.
Yeah, you have said that. You've said that for a while.
Yeah.
I do want to. I'm glad you brought up Hubert Davis because I think we have another open segment here. Maybe I don't know.
Are we gonna get on Hubert?
No, I want to ask. I want to ask a question about the coaches of the top seeds, and which one of those you trust, versus which ones would be like the Kevin Ollies of this situation if they were to win a national title.
Well, he's the only one of the top seeds that hasn't has been there for the shortest amount of time.
I want to make an argument for. I get he's been there the shortest amount of time, but I also think that means we don't really know what he is yet. He's only been there a few years.
I struggle.
I know you struggle, but it's also really close to home for you.
Yeah.
I want to make an argument for another guy that I think would be an outlier.
Okay.
We'll get to that coming up next on Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Wrapping up hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We are live on the Pillar Exterior stage. And I know there were some big crowds down at CHI Health Center last night. Hopefully, there'll be another big crowd at CHI Health Center on Thursday.
So disappointed.
Why is that?
Oh, we got to talk Supernovas first. I don't
All
know.
right, we will get to whatever you're disappointed in. I was happy because last time out on Saturday, March 16th, where the Supernovas won 3-1 over the Orlando Valkyries, you guys got my 12,000 that I was looking for. I appreciate that. Setting more records. Let's see what we can do. Let's keep upping it. All right. I think lucky number 13's in order now. Let's go for 13,000 on Thursday, March 28th for the Omaha Supernovas. Go get tickets at supernovas.com. You can look at the schedule, see their results. Supernovas are 5-1 at home. You know why? Because that home court advantage. Make sure they keep the good times rolling at CHI Health Center. That's supernovas.com. All right. Why are you disappointed?
Because I was scared.
About what?
I just didn't like, and a lot of it was Drake, so I'm not right. Like, I'm not saying like, ooh, DB.
Mm-hmm.
But I told you Washington State is better than people think. Like, Washington State's a good basketball team.
I think no one just had watched them.
But
right?
I still think that was Drake's game to win.
Kind of same thing like last year.
I'm just shocked. And if that's the first time you've watched Tucker DeVries, first of all, shame on you. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to chastise you. But that's how he plays.
Yeah.
right?
Just usually goes in more than that.
There are some shots that he takes, and you're like, no way. But
usually goes in a little bit more than that.
You kind of live and die.
You don't get this life without me, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. With his shot selection, I like that. It's better when you use it.
Well, it's the same thing we've talked about with Casey. It's the same thing you talk about with a lot of these guys, where there's a lot of there's high variance. It's a really high degree of difficulty on the shots.
Which, by the way, man, speaking of Walt Kowalski, if you want to tell me to get off your lawn, I will. But were you bothered at all by the half court over the head thing that he did yesterday that everybody was tweeting?
No.
Okay.
Why?
So
I guess. Why did it bother you?
because Nebraska's not a gimmick.
No, I think it's so.
Do I need I'm here for it. Like, lighten up, DB. That's cool. Like, I can't stand that.
So it's here's my perspective. Here's where my frame of reference is for it, right?
Okay.
I watched Steph Curry warm up so much.
Yeah, and that I roll my eyes.
And he does this stuff all the time.
I roll my eyes at that too.
And that's fine. But I get Casey is not Curry, even though people call him Japanese Steph Curry, whatever. Like, I get he's not him, but when I am used to seeing it from a guy like Steph, like, it didn't even really register for me as something that would be bothersome.
So I have to, and I'm honest, right? Like, when I'm an idiot, like, I'm gonna be like, hey man, I'm an idiot.
That's my bad. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm listening, and it started all week that rubbed me the wrong way. And I don't even know why I pay to really give Pat McAfee a thought. Although I'm not hating on his marketing and how he's
not hating the hustle,
brand.
just not for you.
Like, you made not being in the know
somebody else's problem
a cool thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how did I not know about this Casey Tominaga? And I get it. You want to blame Will Compton, and that's cool. They got a little shtick and all of that. But the attention that Nebraska deserves
is that they're a good basketball team.
Yes.
I get it.
It's not a gimmick. This isn't some publicity stunt. And so I have to kind of like chill. It's like, all right, there's a little anecdotal evidence out there, and this has kind of become a funny thing. And, Mina Kimes and everybody else. And this, I'm like, you know what? That's not what this team is about. Like, there are a lot of people here. There's like, I don't know, what is there, 1.9 in the state?
Something like that, just under 2.
So there's probably, 300,000 basketball fans?
Maybe more than that, but sure, we'll call it. That's fine.
Like, that have, you go all the way back to, I mean, Brian Carr, if you will, or you can go Jerry Fort, or like forever, that have been basketball fans that don't want it to be about the gimmicks and the publicity stunts. And so,
can I put a different spin on it?
Yeah, but hang on.
Okay.
So it's like, all right, man, DB, relax, have some fun. All attention's good attention. And if I trusted that Nebraska could dial in and handle it more, or they were a little more seasoned, or had some tournament history under their belt, I would be cool with it. But I get mad because
you're worried.
Yeah, I don't want them to be distracted by the foolishness. That's foolishness. Nobody's shooting that shot. And the stuff that Curry does, unless he's out of bounds in warm-ups,
he's actually going to shoot.
Everything is viable.
Yeah.
It's fair game. If he wants to pull it from 41, he'll pull it from 41. Okay? So, like, I feel like it's not my job to be protective, but that's how I think about it as a guy that watched a coach and a coaching staff, well, some of the coaching staff, almost lose their jobs.
So let me put a little spin on this for you. Just
Is that just too serious?
No, I mean, I get what you're saying.
Do you want me to eat some bacon and chill?
No, I get what you're saying. I think so. Having been through a ton of pregame walkthroughs and that kind of stuff, usually at the end, there's
I know everybody does it.
Period of time.
It's not my first rodeo.
Kind of do whatever, right?
Yeah.
So that didn't bother me at all. The other thing is, I think there's some value in staying loose, which I think that helps with. Here's the third thing, though, and the most important, is we had this conversation about if you get the opportunity, do you care how it comes? That's how I view this.
You
for
asked me that
Nebraska.
the last time about Bronny and his son, and part of me says yes.
I know you do. I know part of you does, right? And there's a part of me that has in the past. But I think at the end of the day, if you're in Nebraska and you get an opportunity to show everyone how good you are, then it's on you to take advantage of that opportunity. When I got an interview for a job when I'm like 26 and probably didn't deserve that interview, but they liked my mom because they'd worked with her before.
Yeah, I know. That would bug me.
But then it's on me to nail the interview and do a good job.
I know. I'm not that mature. Like that would bug me.
That's fine. And it did bug me for a minute.
It's
like, listen.
It bugged me. Like
I might have got the interview because of that. I didn't get the job or keep the job for as long as I did.
The first people to interview me and I'm just full disclosure, right? The first people to called me and said, "Hey, let's get you back into education. This is your degree." Were Jerry Barty and Bob Dananar. Two guys that have been really, really, really good friends of the family. So I'm like, are they doing this? Are they doing me a solid? Do they want the district to, maybe they think I can help? Like, you don't think I spend time like rationalizing that?
Sure.
So like, it's just different for everybody. So I say all that to say, not to make it about me or you, but I like the personal analogy because it fits.
Yeah.
Nebraska's the program and the emotions and talking to Kent Pavelka, the other day. Like it's bigger than that.
It is.
Steve Sipple, it's bigger than that.
But when the opportunity comes, it's your responsibility to take advantage.
But that's not what it's about.
What do you mean?
It's not about hitting half-court shots and the Japanese Steph Curry and the fun-loving Keisei Tokunaga. This team is built on chemistry, camaraderie,
100%,
and the way that they play.
But
there are times where this dude is on the floor.
There's times
not on the floor in crunch
playable.
time because he can't play.
I understand that.
So I want it to be bigger than that.
And they're getting the opportunity because all the eyeballs that Keisei Tokunaga opens, they get the opportunity to show that it's bigger than that.
Okay.
They get the opportunity that they wouldn't have if it's just Bryce Williams out there scoring 12 points a game. And I love Bryce Williams.
Well, that would be a bad example because he doesn't even talk. So
that's what I mean, though. Like if you're just sitting there and it's like, oh, Nebraska A&M, it's another 8-9 matchup. Let's take the Trev thing out of it. Let's say there's no drama, there's no attention, there's nothing around it.
I mean, they get defensive stops. They guard.
I understand that.
Like this, I'm telling you where my vitriol,
but there's gonna
where
be,
it comes from.
They get an because of Keisei, even if
it's not because of Keisei.
No, stop.
He's the attention getter.
That's what I was going to say. You got to give me a second here.
Well, when you said it's because of Keisei,
no, I said because of Keisei, and all the eyeballs are on it because of Keisei. I'm not saying they're good because of Keisei. I'm saying people are watching.
He just looked at a 50-year-old dude and said, "Stop." I don't know if I should right hook you right where it would short your brain cells out, but I'm listening because you're missing the point.
What is the point?
I love the eyeballs. I love the attention. I like the fact that Keisei has fun. If I could go back and do it, I would have relaxed a lot more and had fun playing basketball. But Nebraska isn't a gimmick. It's not a stunt.
I get that.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. Because my point is that they can, because of the attention that Keisei creates, now they get an opportunity to show more people who they actually are.
I feel like I'm getting ready to go soccer fan on you. I do. But you
like
like soccer,
and
I like
soccer.
Is that not what happens?
It is.
It's like when you're new to the party.
I go watch the World Cup because of Messi, and I'm like, oh, Messi could win his first World Cup. And then I'm like, holy crap, this Mbappe dude is incredible.
Right.
And you realize how great the product is. But
and soccer fan is usually the most
they bristle up about it.
They're the most protective of their sport.
And that's fine, but they're in the wrong and you know it.
No, because you're going to say, well, you want to grow the sport.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want to grow Nebraska basketball, it doesn't matter why the eyeballs are there.
But you know what soccer fan would tell you? What? Not if you're not in it for the long haul. This isn't some fun gimmick. Like we paid a price to be tertiary or way down the line.
If you want to grow the thing that you love, you have to understand that some people are going to be in it for the long haul. Some people aren't.
Guess what?
And there's going to be a conversion rate. Some of the people you didn't think were are going to be.
You win tonight, regardless of who plays well, you're playing the long game.
And that's great. But more people are going to be watching tonight if you do win because of Keisei.
Okay.
That's a net positive for Nebraska.
All right.
And they can show them who they really are and why they're actually good at basketball.
I think you're a ding-dong.
And it's not just some dude. shooting half-court shots over his head. Mike Sauter's up next.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Oh, yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Mike Sautter.
Yeah.
Mike Sautter.
Oh, man, you're going to put me on the spot.
Mike Sautter.
We're kicking off hour number 3 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR in Lincoln.
Literally fighting with one another.
That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla. We'll see if we're still friends by the end of the show. It's a good thing it's a Friday. We get a little break from each other. We've got Mike Sautter here joining us on the good old, is he on the stream? There he is. Sautter, what's going on?
What's going on? Why you got a job interview today? Where you
No,
where are you going?
I got a funeral today.
Oh, whoops, sorry.
That's right.
I'm just out here throwing.
I couldn't wait for him to have to eat that. It's very uncomfortable, Michael Jerome.
I'm just out here throwing half-court shots behind my head because it's fun, Damon.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Sports are supposed to be fun sometimes.
Sports are fun. If you can't have fun, then
I know. Everybody at the end of shoot-arounds hitting ridiculous shots.
That's what they do. It's what they do.
No bleep.
So why does it matter when Casey does it?
It's not a Casey thing. Are you not listening?
I'm trying real hard.
The basketball team is more than just a gimmick stunt. This team has been good all year.
Yes.
It's not an indictment against Casey. It's just that's what people that don't follow gravitate towards, which cheapens the product. That's how I feel. What's so hard to understand about that?
It only cheapens the product if the team itself does not rise to the occasion.
It's not about not having fun. It doesn't have anything to do with. I don't care if Bryce Williams shot it.
Hey, speaking of Bryce Williams, he's the best player on the team.
He's my favorite player on the team.
Yeah, water's wet. A couple of regular geniuses I'm talking to. No kidding. Yeah. What else? Is there 24 hours in a day, Jerome?
Well, everyone else thinks it's Casey Tominaga. He's not.
No, see that proves my point right there.
A lot of people.
What he just
outside.
said. What Michael Sautter just said proves my point. That's not even remotely true. Not even remotely true.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree that he's not the best player on the team. That's fine.
He could have 5 points today, and they could still win by 15. So,
wouldn't that be something that they could win by 15?
That would be a damn blowout.
That Casey brought to the table would be like, oh man, Nebraska's good at basketball.
Right.
Isn't that great?
Jerome, I'm sitting next to soccer guy this morning.
No, you're soccer guy. What are you doing?
Are you going to throw that softball at his head?
Probably.
So you should have seen the break. It was as active as I've been.
He was milling around a little bit.
Like I had to give. I had to burn some energy.
Wow.
How are things in Memphis besides the fact you ate a bad plate of ribs?
Rendezvous. They're known for ribs and brisket.
I bought their seasoning. Full disclosure, I have two, and one of them is unopened.
Their brisket was amazing. The ribs were pretty dry and not.
They looked it. I was surprised you sent that as a picture. It was.
Yeah.
It did not look appealing.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite. But it's okay. It's one of those things like you're in Memphis, you got to go here because it's the famous place to do.
When in Memphis,
right? And then did some other stuff that is adult only last night. So yeah,
it is good to see that you were.
Didn't realize they had a Magic City in Memphis.
Alive and kicking.
Oh wow, no, not that kind of.
Say it's all lonely.
Like a diver from.
Yeah, you're not afraid to be by yourself out in strange cities. So, did you go out with anybody?
Yeah, we were. Yeah, I was with shout out No Block No Rock guys last night.
I'm telling you, those guys get it in.
They're coming tonight.
They're gonna be at Alberts on Beale if you want to. If
listen, Alfred's right across
on Beale if you want to go hang out.
Those guys. I did the podcast that I did with them. I think it was 5 guys.
Yeah,
at least 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
4.
Somebody at the end. Yeah, it was 4. So between the 4 of them, but it was kind of a longer podcast.
How many beers they go through?
Is double digits in its totality.
Yeah,
like they get it in.
Yeah, they do.
I will tell you, they are sharing a room in the same room that size of room that I have, and I'm like, you guys must really like each other.
Yeah, see, I'm too old for that.
Like the full size bed is more of a twin-ish.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well,
so I wouldn't be
didn't you put Padilla in the tub last week?
Come on, no.
No, he was in the closet. You just laid down you just put him on the ironing board and said you can sleep on there.
He was on the pull-out couch thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, tub is probably fine too. If you just get a comforter or something, you make it. He's tough. You gotta be a little gritty out here.
Hey, so when you're doing this thing and because I know you do with high school kids, like you're the perfect guy to be having this segue with. You get very, very protective over something that you've done over time, and you see Johnny come latelys. Do you kind of understand what I think this magnitude of the moment means for Nebraska basketball based on versus the national media's, kind of this fun-loving story?
Yeah, it's a little annoying. I agree with you on that because it's kind of like it's not just Casey making wild shots. I mean, they're actually a pretty good team, and they have pretty good players. Like Rink Mass is leading the team in assists, and he is the center. So like that should be talked about. Rink Mass has played internationally for his home country team. So has Casey. Casey just gets all the attention, but I do understand what you're saying, Ravi. Where
it's not an anti. It's
I
don't even know Casey. What I'm saying is like
don't just take a bite, take the whole slice.
Misrepresented because of the infatuation. With
I do think the team gets misrepresented.
I don't disagree with even.
And maybe it's not my job to be protective of that.
I just don't think it's as big of a negative as you seem to think.
It's just I'm just telling you how it makes me feel. I think
it's better for the program.
I told you how it made me feel.
That's fair.
Not what I think the byproduct
Listen,
is.
I'm all about validating feelings. That's fine. I'm okay.
It's another analogy for it is like don't just take the bite of the pizza, eat the whole slice, like because it'll be better if you eat the whole slice than one bite.
I say this, so full disclosure, this is partly on the heels. Was it Katz? Who did the halftime interview of Indiana?
Katz was doing halftime.
Every question was about the 3-point barrage.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Hoiberg kept trying to
bring
it back to the totality of the second half. And we blew a lead against them before. And then the follow-up question was about the 3-point barrage. And he kept saying, well, like I said. So part of what you're hearing in that last 10 minutes is
accumulation.
Yes, it's a culmination of things. And you're doing a disservice to when your head coach has to bring it back to the team in its totality. Like it's getting out of hand.
Can I make an argument that
no, you can't.
Okay.
This is his interview.
Right, go ahead, Mike.
No, that's okay. One of the things today that we'll see is I think they win, and I think it's not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. I do think they win, and I think it's because of their defense. They're going to get a couple of stops late. Now, if you just layup line that thing, like A&M
I know they got fellas.
Yeah, like
but they can't shoot. That's the thing.
Not a little bit.
They've shot,
but they do have some fellas.
Though. They've shot
rebound half of their terrible misses.
Yeah. They've shot over 40% from 3 the last 6 games, so that scares you a little bit, or 5 of the last 6. So that scares you. They also have scored over 80 or in the 90s in the last handful of games as well. Now, if Nebraska scores 80, they're winning, and they're winning by a bit, like probably 8-12. If they score 80, I think they win by double figures. If they don't,
I do think this game gets into the 70s. I just don't know if that's advantage Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean they're both averaging 77 and averaging giving up like 74. It's a pretty even matchup. You can really see why it's an 8-9 matchup if you dig really deep in the numbers like I did, which you can find on hailvarsity.com. The preview that I wrote was over 1,000 words for the game with a lot of statistics in there like that. So I'm going to plug that real quick because I worked all week on it.
Well, if we work together, we work. We work for the same company. That's okay.
Yeah,
those shameless plugs we can get behind.
The rebounding thing is going to be.
I mean, No Block, No Rock does do their podcast with us, right?
Right.
Yeah, they do. Shout out to those guys.
And they do drink a lot.
Yes, I saw them on the internets last night. They were getting it.
I left floored. And that's hard to do, right?
At least-
I don't even mix drinks, and so I'm no priss.
At least you didn't see. At least you didn't see me on the internet last night. So.
Were you on the internet?
No, I mean, I hope I wasn't.
A little bit more discreet than the NBNR guys are.
No, I just would prefer that if I'm being an adult to not be on the internet.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
novel. Once
I
you
almost-
reach a certain age, it's not cool anymore.
I mean, I may need to talk to Pat today and get that headband back that I had on yesterday.
I like that.
Sautter, you got to flex on them next time. You got to lose the sleeves.
Yeah, I was in the moment real quick. We had to do it real fast because there's people wanting interviews and stuff. So I didn't want to be really in the way. I'm flexing today though. The fit today is pretty good. Yeah. I mean, this is the inside of the coat.
Nice.
Well, I like that. It's
Yeah.
terrible radio, but I like the
Last time I wore this jacket that I have on today was Mike J. Schaefer's wedding.
Oh, nice.
So I only busted.
Oh wait,
out for,
open that again.
I only busted out for important.
Oh yeah,
things.
he wanted to fight me because I said his wife picked it out, and he literally lost his mind at the dinner table.
Yeah, we don't. Your boy can dress himself.
He was tired and inebriated, so he didn't find humor in that. It's like Simadonna.
So back to today, the game. The one thing is the rebounding stuff, and I dug through and I went through, and on the offensive glass, Nebraska's been out rebounded by 6.2 a game in their 10 losses. That's a lot, and they've been out rebounded by a total of 87 in their losses. So you gotta they gotta rebound. If they get out rebounded, they're losing. I think everybody knows that. I don't think that's breaking news or anything. So I think that's a huge key. Now they're averaging 77.6 points a game, Nebraska is. So if they can get it to the high 70s, they're gonna win. I just don't see it. If it gets if the winning team has less than 72, there's no way Nebraska wins the game.
Wait, say that again.
If the winning team in this game has less than 72, I don't see Nebraska winning.
Okay. Note to self, because I
don't even know what the total is or anything like that. I have no idea.
I don't know. What is it? 147, 148?
I can check real quick.
So but wait though, it's deceivingly low for these two teams.
143.5.
Hey, that's low.
Yeah,
and so everybody's like, "Oh man, I love the over. I love the over." Even Brian Edwards loved the over, and I'm like, the metrics say they're scoring significantly more than that. I don't, and everybody's on the over. Like I don't know. I don't. Vegas isn't always right, but it's just a weird number. They're just not in the habit of freebies.
Yeah, they're not trying to lose money.
Were you disappointed in all the blowouts yesterday?
A little bit. Like I wish, just for selfishly, I would have liked to see South Dakota State play a little better, maybe. But
boy, we kind of called that though. There's just suffocating.
There's nothing you're good like that matchup's just not that wasn't gonna work. But
I mean, suffocating.
Yeah, and I'm also like immediately I wanted to be on a Kentucky message board because I cannot imagine what kind of dumpster fire is going on there.
A lot of crowdfunding jokes about finding $33 million.
Oh wow. Yeah, like do people realize that guy is still pretty good at what he does?
I don't know about that.
We were actually just having that conversation before you got on the air, Sautter.
Really? Huh.
So wait a minute though. How can we talk about firing Tony Bennett, but we're cool with Cal?
Yeah, you fire Tony Bennett. Who says that? That's dumb.
Have you not seen national media?
Yeah, that's crazy. Like the dude won a national championship at Virginia, for Christ's sake.
Come on. And more recent than Cal did at Kentucky. But we're rationalizing Cal, but we're mad at Bennett.
Yeah,
one's a significantly worse job.
It's easier to watch. That's the only reason. It's easier to watch. That's the reason. I'm not saying it's a good reason. It's easier to watch Kentucky lose a game when they score 90 points than it is to watch
I just hate the double standard.
That's fine.
I defended Bennett because I think it's hard to do what he's doing in Charlottesville.
That's totally
fine.
fine.
I'm not defending Cal.
You ever been to Charlottesville? It's real
Yes,
hard.
yes, I have.
Not easy to get to.
I try to avoid places like that.
Well,
remember I used to make the wine and brie cheese jokes for tailgating?
Yeah.
That's Charlottesville.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with brie cheese or wine for that matter.
I like a good wine and cheese.
Sautter, will you have breakfast today that you paid for?
Absolutely not. There's no way. He's in a hotel. There's no way.
I have I have
How hard you go on the Continental?
We don't have there. That's not a thing here. I do have breakfast bars that I packed because I figured that because there wasn't breakfast, so I packed with me breakfast.
Wait, are you staying at a place that's too fancy to have continental breakfast?
No, it ain't that fancy, let me tell you. But it is fine. They just don't have it, which is okay. I do not know what I'm going to eat today, but I do know one thing.
You're not paying for it?
Right.
Them apples.
Jerome, you've got a long day to be disciplined, so I am wishing you the best because 5:50 is a long time from now.
Long day.
I'm gonna go to the gym now, actually, and just be there. So right when I'm done with this, I'm gonna go there and watch some games, and then I'm gonna go to Alfred's on Beale Street, which is right next to the FedEx Forum for the No Block No Rock podcast live, and be there with those guys for 2 hours. And
yeah, they're going to be there from 12 to 2 local time, right?
Right. Yeah, it is local.
Want to go hang out with them
at the same time.
Godspeed.
All right, Sautter, have fun. Try to. I mean, if you're hanging out with those guys, try to be sober by game time. That's all I'm asking.
I'm not. I gotta work. I can't do that.
Hey, they're professionals. They know how to pull it off.
Yeah, I can't do that. I would like to partake and enjoy with everyone else. I can't. I gotta be.
I'm just saying they're gonna try and talk you into it.
Hey, Northwestern or FAU?
Ooh, FAU.
Really?
You don't sound real convicted about that.
Yeah, I just think their injuries are gonna catch. Like at some point, the injuries are gonna catch them, right? Tiberi's a pretty good player that they haven't played with now for a while, so they're getting used to it. But I don't know. Yeah, who's getting the Louisville job? Dusty May.
That's why I'm dressed up. I'm interviewing today.
It's got to be Dusty May.
You think? But are you paying that guy $2 million?
Yeah, it's tough. And the buyout stuff, it's a little. I would need to see more. The one name that someone brought up yesterday was Will Wade, and I was like, there ain't no chance that they're doing that.
Had they have won, he'd have been a lot more marketable. Now you don't want the stink that comes with it, and he laid an egg.
And
because I think at universities are looking for reasons to keep Will Wade out.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't you? I'm sorry.
No, I mean, listen, colleges have sold their soul.
Speaking of guys that I'm not totally sure are very good at their job. Not totally sure.
Yeah, he's a cheater. Woo, boy.
All right.
Woo.
All right, Mr. Sautter. You look clean. Stay clean. Be good.
Have fun at the gym today, bud.
Yep. Bye.
See you later.
That's Mike Sautter joining us here on the
not going to really make a case for Cal.
I understand.
And hammer Tony Bennett.
I'll hammer them both because I think both of their results have been not what you would expect from guys that have won national titles. Is that fair? Like once a guy wins a national title, I expect a certain level of consistency after that.
Yeah, but it was so jaw dropping, and you were like, I'm not sure Tony Bennett's a good coach. And they had 5 years of being pretty mediocre, right?
They've had 5 bad years since the title.
Yeah, well, Kentucky hasn't been to the second weekend in 3 consecutive years and haven't won anything since 12.
That's fine.
So what are we rationalizing?
I'm not rationalizing Cal.
I meant as a
people, as a industry, as my brother.
I don't think you can say that word, industry,
brother.
Shut up, Shane.
Hey, by the way, you said FAU and Northwestern. That line, that game right there, just from all the brackets that I've seen, which hasn't been very many, but that seemed to be right down the line.
Yeah, it's an 8. It's an 8-9. That's why.
I mean, like half the people are going.
It's an 8-9, right?
Yeah. Who do you guys got for that?
I'll take FAU.
I will too.
FAU. Okay.
I'll take FAU.
I'll take FAU.
I don't know who I picked in my bracket.
I think Tony Bennett and John Calipari are the opposite sides of the same coin. They are really, really good at part of their job. And the other part of the job leaves a lot to be desired.
So you let Tony Bennett do the coaching and let Cal do the recruiting?
Yeah, if they wanted to be on the same team, you'd be incredible. You'd never lose a game. But it's a lot that I really think the reason.
Did you watch Kentucky's shot selection?
Yes. They're not coached. He just rolls it out.
They play that way all the time.
And have for a very long time.
They just kind of started getting good at offense. Remember, like, that was not his thing for a while.
No, I mean,
Shepard and Dillingham and Reeves kind of help.
But his offense is almost entirely personnel dependent. He's not drawn anything up.
Dude, he had Anthony Davis and he was going for 10 a night.
I understand that.
Now, granted, Anthony Davis wasn't as polished offensively, but he was very, very capable.
There were a lot of other polished offensive players on that team. That's why they won that title and haven't won anything since.
Yeah.
He doesn't win anything that his personnel don't directly dictate, right? Whereas Tony Bennett has definitely gotten more out of lesser players than John Calipari has.
You don't think Cal could have coached Guy and Jerome? Probably not.
No, probably not. DeAndre Hunter, maybe. Yeah. That fits his profile a little bit better.
Diakite?
No.
I think the reason they're viewed differently nationally is because Kentucky's easier to watch. I really think that's it. I don't think it's entirely different cases. They're just easier to watch. It's easier to stomach 90 points in a loss than 40.
Did you see all the YouTube and TikTok clips of the guy that had taken Oakland on the money line?
No.
I think, was it Jerry or Jeremy? I mean,
Was he just living and dying?
Oh, man, this dude was Usain Bolting like the bow and arrows. He's like, dagger, baby. I just was happy he was rolling with Adidas. I was like, yeah, maybe he's a Nebraska guy.
That corner three by, was it Cole?
Oh, stone cold. Icy.
Unbelievable.
Icy.
Whenever there's an upset like that, there's usually
and hand in the face too.
That was a hard closeout. And didn't blink. Usually when there's an upset like that, there's a shot that you can point to and go, that's one of those.
Does 11 seem like it's low for amount of 3-pointers in one game for the tournament? I mean,
in one game?
Yeah.
No.
I'm not surprised that it's 11. I'm surprised that it was in 1990.
Like
I know Loyola Marymount was doing a different thing, but
you realize, like, just do the math. Like 11 times 3 is 33. How many times do you see 33-point performances in college?
Not a ton.
Not a ton.
Do you know what I mean?
One every 3.5 minutes if you play the entire game. That's a pretty good clip.
He was shooting that thing too. What do you have? 8 2-point field goal attempts
the entire season.
Yeah,
I bet at least half of them were toe on the line. Didn't even mean to. At least half of them. Coming up next, Coming up next, we got Jessica Coody here on Hurrdat Sports Radio.
You said this team has been businesslike in their approach all season long. What have the preparations been like? Team has been businesslike in their approach all season long. What have the preparations been like this week leading into the tournament?
Well, it's been sharp, and it has to be because these guys pose a lot of.
Coach, you said this team has been businesslike in their approach all season long. What have the preparations been like this week leading into the tournament?
Well, it's been sharp, and it has to be because these guys pose a lot of problems and do a lot of things that we haven't seen all year. They run every possible defense you can think of. A lot of switching man-to-man and 3-2 zone and a 1-2-2 press. So they're going to throw everything at us. And I think our guys have done a good job of coming out here and trying to figure out exactly what we need to do to attack the different coverages that we will see.
We will be back. We will be back.
Coach, you said this team has been businesslike in their approach all. Coach, you said this team has been businesslike in their approach all season long. What have the preparations been like this week leading into the tournament?
Well,
We will be back. We will be back. Sports Radio.
Coach, you said this team has been businesslike in their approach all season.
We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Coach, you said this team has been businesslike in their approach all season long. What have the preparations been like this week leading into the tournament?
Well, it's been sharp, and it has to be because these guys pose a lot of problems and do a lot of things that we haven't seen all year. They run every possible defense you can think of. A lot of switching man-to-man and 3-2 zone and a 1-2-2 press. So they're going to throw everything at us. And I think our guys have done a good job of coming out here and trying to figure out exactly what we need to do to attack the different coverages that we will see.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR in Lincoln. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We're brought to you by the Team Jack Foundation. Go to teamjackfoundation.org to get involved with their fight to find better treatments for kids fighting brain cancer and one day a cure. They've raised over $12 million to date to support projects with Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, Memorial Sloan Kettering, Columbia University, and of course, the University of Nebraska Medical Center. You can find upcoming events, or you can just donate directly online at teamjackfoundation.org. Joining us now is Jessica Coody of the Husker Radio Network. Jessica, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you guys doing?
JC, what's up? Everybody told me to chill out, so I'm chilling out.
Sounds like you guys need some therapy.
Well, you know,
That took you all of 15 seconds. Well done.
There is like a couples counseling element to what we do here, so maybe that's not a
Mhm.
terrible idea.
I was being accused of gatekeeping. It wasn't even
No, a little
JC.
bit.
Like
No, a little
she
bit.
knows me. Like it's not even about who. It's the what. It's not anti-Casey. I just don't want the product lesson because as we just heard Coach Hoiberg talk, I mean these guys are pretty dialed in and they are all business, right? I mean, is that the feel you get? You're right there with them.
Yeah, and they have been all season. And that was one thing I found interesting. It was right before the Big Ten tournament, and things had started to come together for this team. And Coach Hoiberg was on his hour-long radio show with us, and he had mentioned that Coach Cook actually reached out to him and said, you know, you got to approach it like business-like, but you also got to find ways to enjoy it. And so I think that's even been the message put to this team is not even so much like, hey, we got to be business. Like it's, hey, maybe let's take a step back and not even and enjoy the ride a little bit. But they absolutely have. But what's great about this team is it's because they're a great storyline going into this. And I talked to John Rothstein yesterday, who's going to be on the call today on TNT, and he said that it's one of the better storylines. It's one of the better storylines in the whole tournament this year. So they've got a lot of attention. And while the outside world is making it about Keisei Tominaga and he's getting a lot of love, these guys in that locker room, they don't care. They're okay with it, you know, because they understand what the team is. And so it's not like, I mean, we're sitting here fighting a battle for them that they don't even care to be fought for them. You know, it's like they're okay with Keisei getting the superstardom treatment because they are okay and love the kind of culture and locker room that they have, and they know who they are and they embrace it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I said even, you know, I'm willing to be the old man in the group, but I always just approach it like from the team aspect, and you know, kind of my personality in terms of like just being dialed in when it's time to do work. How cool is it that they don't care, right? Like a Bryce Williams can score 23 points, have 5 of 8 field goals. Another guy's getting storylines, or Rink Mass can lead the team in assists, like Sautter was just talking about, and that's not talked about. Do you think that's part of the secret sauce that people miss all the little different parts?
Absolutely. And it would be interesting. I tracked this for a while in the beginning of the season, but I think when they started the season in 6 different games, in the 6 games to start the season, they had 6 different leading scorers. And you could probably go back and look at that for every game this season. And it's really crazy how many times it's a different leading scorer. It could be Bryce Williams. It could be Rink Mass. It could be Juwan Gary. It could be Keisei Tominaga. It could be CJ Wilcher. You could go down the list. And so, and this team embraces that. And that goes back to the guys that they brought in. They started this culture and the buying in, and it started last year. And then when they went to the portal, they got guys that believed in that, and Rink Mass believes in that. Bryce Williams believes in that. And so they are 1,000%. I mean, a lot of guys can say that, oh, we don't care if we get the points tonight, but ultimately they really do. I also forgot to mention Jamarcus Lawrence. I mean, again, you could really go down.
That's my X factor.
You know, so it's like you have so many different guys that could be the guy, and they find the guy. Whoever has the hot hand, and that's what Coach Hoiberg has said over and over again, is that he loves about this team is they realize very quickly in a game who's got the hot hand, and even in a half who's got the hot hand, and they get them the ball, and they don't care that they're not getting theirs. It is about winning basketball games, and that is ultimately, and it sounds like, oh, everybody says that, but that is to the core to this team and why they are where they are.
Jessica, how much easier do you think it's been to find the right fit for in the transfer market? Because we saw Coach Hoiberg the first few years where it wasn't working out the way we wanted it to, where the transfers maybe weren't hitting the same. And once they found that identity of who they are, seems like all of a sudden those transfers hit at a super high rate. I mean, coincidence or correlation there?
Well, look, there's no doubt Fred Hoiberg is a proven coach. I mean, I was at Oklahoma for several years when he was at Iowa State, and his teams were unbelievable. He puts guys in the league. He's been in the league. He knows. And so players know that he can develop NBA talent. His system translates well to the NBA. So that's a big part of it. But then it was like, yeah, we got to find the guys that fit this culture. And I think this team this year reminds me a lot of the team that he took to the Sweet 16 with George Niang and that group, because they had a lot of guys like this too that could score it, and that they just, when they were all clicking, they were just such a deadly group. And so, I think it was figuring it out. And you have to remember there was a COVID year and he was coming back from the NBA. Things had changed a little bit. And so just figuring out how to work and what works here at Nebraska. And I think his coaching staff is unbelievable. They are so great. You know, I was just watching practice yesterday, and the way that they work together, it's seamless. When certain guys are, hey, this is the inbounds plays we're working on, and then, hey, this is when they're pressing what we're going to do, and they flow in and out, and they're so supportive of one another. It's from top down the culture. And yes, I think it maybe took a minute to figure that out, but I think he's got the recipe right now.
JC, whose personalities is this team, right? You have the unassuming approach of Bryce. You got the fun-loving Casey. You got the toughness of Juwan. Like, when you're looking at this team's temperament, what do you see the most? Like, whether it's on their travel, or whose personalities do you kind of see like, oh, okay, who commands the huddle?
Well, I think it depends on the game. And if it's if it's a grind it out type of game where the shots aren't falling, they got to lock down defensively, it's Juwan, Gary, and Sam Hoiberg's team. If it's hey, we got to, sometimes it's Casey's team when he's unbelievable unconscious. It's, and I think you start to see the team really lighten up too. But I'll never forget Adam Howard when he was on the show back, I think it was December or November. He said that Rink Mast is one of the best leaders he's ever been around in a college basketball locker room. And so I think from the start, when he got here, he made his mark on this team, and and it's also an example with how he sets in practice and the tone that he sets in practice, and just the belief in a team that, hey, no, we're going to win basketball games. We're going to figure out a way to win these basketball games. So, but I think it's a collective effort. And, I think it maybe took a little while to develop the conversation in the huddles, but Coach Hoiberg has said a couple different wins that when they've sustained the runs, like at Indiana, it was Jerron Coleman that was a vocal guy in the huddle. When the team takes on and takes responsibility on their own, that's when they've been able to work through some of the adversity. And I think that's a number of different guys that step up in different moments. And that's what makes great basketball teams. That's what makes special basketball teams.
Do you feel Uncle KP's emotions?
Uncle KP. I think today he's going to be really feeling it. Yesterday he seemed to just be taking it all in, like he was on cloud nine, and he's a celebrity here. I mean, I said this to Greg, for as much as at the Big Ten Women's Basketball Championship they were calling it Carver North, this is like PBA East. There are so many Husker fans walking around taking over Beale Street, and they were at the shoot-arounds yesterday. And, of course, Kent Pavelka is one of the number one selfies people want to take. And so he's absolutely, because he's, such a recognizable guy. And people want it for him. That's what I think is so cool, too, is that he's done this for so long. People want him to have this experience where you win a basketball game in the NCAA tournament. But, I think he'll be a little more stressed today. But I think the last couple of days he was kind of just taking it all in.
Appreciate you. Coody. Thank you.
Have a great day, guys.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back.
You know what I'm talking about, man. You know what. I dare you to sit up there and say, explain. You know what I'm talking about, man. To this day. To this day.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio. Now let's find out what Matt Vrzal is better at. Telling stories or making pizza.
Matt.
Matt's an exceptional young man.
Matt Vrzal.
Happy birthday, Matt.
You know, Matt, he's a tremendous athlete.
Matt Vrzal.
Come on, Matt, I'm with you.
You know, like Matt Vrzal, you're one of the sexiest people in the world, but you're not one of the most beautiful. How does that happen?
Here is Matt Vrzal.
All right, Matt, thank you very much.
Wrapping up the show here on a Friday, wrapping up the week on AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, and KFOR in Lincoln. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. STB, I'm Ravi Lulla. We're now joined by our guy, Matt Vrzal. Verz, how are you this morning?
Good, boys. How you doing?
The better question is, how are you doing?
I'm always good, Damon. I call my friends because they watch a lot of college basketball just to get some insight. They don't call me back. So I bet their team in the hopes now that they lose. Yeah.
That seems like a very specific scenario there.
Yeah. Doesn't sound that much like a hypothetical there, Matty.
Yeah. And then I would ask a lot out of my friends just to call back. I'm driving over to Iowa to make bets.
Yeah.
30 seconds of your time.
Well, I thought you had a better story to tell, so I figured I'd need to a lot more time.
Well, you were close there. You almost said a bad word.
I know. You bring it out.
Yeah, that was, got a little nervous there. I was like, I'm just going to hang up now.
Yes, that's what Shane was thinking too. Hey, the
message was very clear.
Yours?
Yeah.
Well, I read the text after though.
The voice to text?
No, you texted and you said you had a story. That's what I thought.
Yeah, that was a different phone call.
Oh, well,
They're two separate entities.
Sorry.
I haven't told you the one. Just text me. You didn't even do that.
Wow. Are you, okay.
I see where I rank. That's fine.
I do have some
situational friend. I get it.
I do have some questions. Wow, you better stop. Hey, by the way, are you the only one that has that feelings T-shirt, or was that online?
The what?
The blank your feelings T-shirt.
Oh no, those are out there. Yeah.
So are you? Oh, so that's available for purchase? I thought those were part of the ones you were designing too.
I mean, I'll probably put one on there in a little bit here. I'm trying to teach myself. You want to see? You want to hear something funny? I'm trying to teach myself like Illustrator and Photoshop, so I can just when I get an idea, I can send it. Like I can put some stuff down and send it to my guy and say, "Help me fix this."
Wow. Wow.
Oh yeah, I'm on some tutorials. I bought some tutorials. It is you've never seen a computer about get thrown through a wall more than I should probably tape it. But that computer's been in the air a few times, getting ready to get hucked into the wall.
You're super publicly accessible at your job when you're out and about with the customers. Was it hard for you to manage your personal feelings versus whatever else was going on with regards to Nebraska and the former athletic director?
No. I let it rip. Especially now that Trev has moved on. We're really letting it rip now. There's been some eye-popping conversations to some folks.
Yeah, I bet.
They're just like, whoa, you're lying. I'm like, oh, no. There's a couple things I don't do. And lying ain't one of them. I'll tell you the truth.
So did people ask you why you were so upset last Friday, or did they get it?
No, they got it. Well, this is one of the things I was going to tell you, and I'll just say it. I had employees from the University of Nebraska, Lincoln, different offices down there, drove from Lincoln to Omaha to have dinner.
Wow.
I ended up being 4 separate people that came down, and they're like, it's always kind of awkward if it's like, are you Verz? And I was like, yeah, yep.
Are you the guy that just had the meltdown on?
Nope. They're like, this is going to go one of 2 ways right now. You're going to be real good or real bad. And to a person, they're all like, hey, thank you. Like, you only scratched the surface. You have no idea what it's like up there. And that was disheartening, of course. But it, we had a great conversation. And I said, however you think I can help, I'll do whatever I can. And they're like, just, know that you're on the right path. I was like, okay.
Wow.
I don't know what that means. I might not be able to attend our 30th anniversary for the 94 National Championship team. I might get the boot.
Hey, are they doing that?
If they don't, we're going to have a big problem. We're going to have a bigger problem than some of the other problems.
Do people normally celebrate 30s?
I think you do the 10-year intervals.
Do you?
I think we're getting screwed. We should go 5 because
I could see the collective eye rolls around the city. Oh, there they go. He's living in the past. I don't. You make it seem like I'm used. Like I don't know, Matt. Have I done the 30-year thing before? This would be my first time. So how do I know what people normally do?
Negative infinity F's that people think, oh, here they go. Because it's as selfish as I can be with it, because I love seeing my buddies from college. And if that's the reason they can all come back to Lincoln and we can all get together, sign me up. They can do annual if they want. Because you got to admit, me and you had a good time until that little girl that got us off the field told us to get the F off of their field. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Damon and I look at each other. I'm like, what did you just say? And she goes, this little gal goes, get the college girl. Like, we were getting screamed at by a college girl. She goes, get the F off of our field. And I was like, okay. all right. I looked at Damon. He looked at me. Like, we're out of here. We're blowing this popsicle stand. I'm like, we're going out to the tailgate. We're going to keep drinking. And we did.
Yeah.
That was when I met Jenny for the first time.
Yeah. I remember. I think I put my lips on an ice trough and I was traumatized.
You did. I was 47 sheets to the wind. In my phone for the longest time, JC's name was Damon's girl. Because you told me her name and I couldn't remember it for the life of me.
Yeah. Now you guys like each other a lot more than either one of you likes me. That's cool. I see how that works.
Yeah, that's just evolution. Like, cards are going to fall where the cards fall.
All right, Verz, I got to ask the question, and if you don't feel like answering, I totally understand. But when you got people telling you how disheartening it is there any details you can share there?
No.
Okay. I had to ask.
Well, so is that one of those where you didn't want to be validated? You'd rather have been not right, but you were, and it made you even more mad?
No, because then it gets I knew I was right, or I wouldn't have said it. Okay. But having them, like, listen, I love Faisans. I love the people that come in. We are not a destination spot in Omaha. Like,
wow.
We are not a bougie steakhouse. We are not an overpriced, all that stuff. That's a Tuesday trip. That's not a Friday night trip. But it's I really value them, and then I like to fix things. Okay, I like to help. So if things are bad, Damon can vouch for this. If I've played taxi for the betting boys happily.
Yeah.
Taxied them even when their grandma walked out of the garage the same time and just drove away.
Oh Lord.
But I will always help. And I love the university. I had such an awesome experience at Nebraska, and it got me so many of my great friends, and it opened my little brain to so much stuff that I want the kids that are there to have the same experience. I want them to have the same passion and love and all that stuff for the school, and to have, again, the people that are in charge to be in the way. And thank you to Bill Byrne and the rest of, I don't know which chancellors we had. See, that's how little I knew. I didn't need to know the chancellor's name. I couldn't even tell you who the president was, but I knew who Bill Byrne was. And he was making sure that our experience was as good as it could be. And that's all those kids need. They don't need your dumbasses doing egotistical crap. They're there to play football and get an education, that too. But it's just like, get out of the way. Like, nerd, go away. Go do nerd stuff somewhere else. Just let us bash our heads into each other. We know what we sign up for. Leave us alone.
Every day, every week, I do these interviews in fear. Wow, nobody's safe, are they, Maddie?
No. But no, I don't forget either. I was so mad. I was so mad that day. I was fighting. I was mad. Hey, but we did tell each other we were number one, though, me and her.
Wow.
She didn't like that I wouldn't move my car, and I didn't. And she told me I was number one, and my number one indicator is very large. And so I fired that baby back at her.
All right.
She might even have got the double.
Any deliveries?
Can't remember. I might have blacked out there for a little bit.
Any deliveries, Maddie?
We got lunches. It's going to be an S show today. I'll just tell you. We got Scott lunch, but we're going to open the dining room just because it's basketball stuff, and so Katie's going to have her hands full. She's got to warn everybody it's going to take a little bit longer than normal, but we'll get it all done. We'll figure it out.
Poor girl. I give her my best. All right, Maddie.
Nah, she's an Ellis and a Grand Island girl. She's fine.
Got that 308.
Yeah.
Hard in Chinese algebra, boys.
I never felt like we were any less friends. Good talk, Maddie.
Yeah. Now I got North Carolina to win it all, so I hope they get bounced today.
That's Matt Vrzal, the one and only. We appreciate you, Verz. We'll talk to you next week.
See you, boys.
Oh, God.
That's the show for the week. I don't even recognize what we're doing
I have
here.
no idea. It was quite a week.
Next week, if we don't get to Hubert Davis, Dr. Nick is going to kill us both. So we got to get to it.
Well, we still hope they beat Sparty. We're good.
UNC needs to get a W this weekend so we can do it. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. Have a good weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.